brand, or whatever YouTube calls their viewers. I'm not really sure. So I'm just gonna pop the chat out here and be ready to go. Should be able to see it a little bit better this time. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we got my coffee right here. We're ready to go. Hopefully you guys have got something equivalent to coffee as well. So let's see what we got here. We're going to start with hold on. There we go. All right. We're going to start with our cards here and then kind of go from there. So let me get comfy here. Hopefully everyone has had a great Tuesday. It sounds weird when I say it out loud, but that's what it is. It's Tuesday. All right, so let's looky here and see what we get, guys. Okay. Let's do this. Let's get this going. Ba-doom, ba-doom. All right. Wild Unknown Tarot. Okay, it's wildly unknown what we're going to get, so that kind of fits. That does kind of fit. So let's see what we got here. Let's shuffle and let's look at the energy for today, Tuesday. I feel like it's early enough that we can do that. And let's see what we can come up with here. Okay, let's do this. Okay, let's do a couple more shuffles here. Let's do a couple more. Remember to like and subscribe on the video, guys. I really do appreciate it, and give that little bell icon a tickle down there. You can know every time I put my mug up on the screen here when I'm getting ready to go live. Okay. All right, energy for today. What is the general energy for today? Okay. General energy for the day. Alrighty. Okay. Now let me shuffle these ones here, and then I will show you guys the cards here in just a second. Just a little bit here. I might need to move my little ass over here a little bit. There we go. You guys can see the Super Mario mushroom back there. We got Yoshi and Mario. And the infamous banana pill from Mario Kart is making an appearance today, so you guys are lucky that way. Always hated those in Mario Kart. Those always were definitely not my favorite. Okay, let's shuffle, see what we can get here. Here we go, here we go. 2 more shuffles. Do you guys have a favorite incense smell? As weird as that sounds, hopefully I'm not being insensitive, right? But I'm really liking this one, Dragon's Blood, right? That's one of my favorite incense. And then there's, and the company is called Wildberry, and they do a really good job with their products, I think. And the Dragon's Blood smells incredible. I'm going to light one here in just a minute. Kind of get the vibe going, so to speak. Okay. Let's do one more shuffle. Here we go. General energy for Tuesday. Alright, let's see what we get here. So first thing we have is, I'm going to read these energy cards first, and then we'll put some stuff on top of it. We have Action. Okay. Financial constraints, everyone. There's no such thing as finance, as far as I know. And then we have hostilities in reverse. So with action, financial constraints, and hostilities in reverse, what I see here is that we need to take action to make money, or we need to take action to make action happen, so to speak. So in our environment on Tuesday, it's going to be a day where we're kind of standing up for ourselves and we're going after what it is that we want, because that's going to give us what it is that we want. Okay, sound like a broken record there, but it is true. So let's look at some of these other cards here and see what we get. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, so underneath Action in the upright position, we have got the Son of Swords in reverse. Okay, and the Son of Swords in reverse here is going to be relating to maybe we're overthinking a situation, like we're overthinking something that we should just take action in. So basically, we're stuck in a loop where we're like thinking about thinking, but we're not quite getting anything done. That's the thing with thinking, is that it's not doing. It's kind of being in that analysis paralysis kind of mindset. So Son of Swords in reverse could be extreme ways of thinking before we take action. We need to make sure it's absolutely going to work perfectly each and every time we take action, because we wouldn't want to look foolish now, would we? But the thing is, it's always the right time. It's always the perfect time to do whatever it is we need to do, but we're stuck in this kind of loop of thinking that we need to wait until light shoots out of our ass and, you know, God points down to us and chooses us and then we like rise up. No. Right now is the time. Right now is the time where we stand up, where we can start making something of ourselves. Waiting, that doesn't help anybody, right? Okay. Then we have financial constraints right here. And we have the Nine of Swords. So there could be a lot of anxiety around this situation too. Obviously, if we're overthinking, it's not because we're confident. It's because there's something blocking the flow of our energy, right? There's something that's making it harder for us to see the situations that we're talking about. And that can make it so that we're kind of stuck in this loop, if you will. Not a fun loop, not like a roller coaster. I guess if the roller coaster just kept going down, that's kind of where we're at. It's like there's no upward movement. It's just like a slow decline. And so if we can do something to bring ourselves out of this way of thinking, because what's funny is with these energy cards here for Tuesday, we have action, financial constraints, and hostilities in reverse. But then we have all swords, okay? Because this card here, hostilities, in reverse, we get the Eight of Swords, okay? Eight of Swords is a card where we could be putting ourselves in a position where we could get out of something. We could pull ourselves out of this kind of situation, but for some reason we're saying we don't have any power. That person has power over us, this situation has power over us, and us doing something to stand up for ourselves or to be independent in some way feels threatening to us, okay? And we've been conditioned. We've been conditioned, and right here, this is an opportunity for us to bust out of that, okay? Because if we're wanting to make something of ourselves, that's what we need to do, is bust out of these kind of archaic ways of thinking, these ways that no longer serve us, okay? And they never did. These ways never did, but now it's time for us to rise up. It's time for us to try something else. So I'm going to draw some more cards here, and then we're going to look for, well, okay. Wow. So on top of all this energy, we have all three major arcana reversed. We have all three. All three of the cards of the major arcana that I've got are reverse. And so we have the Hierophant in reverse. This is on the Son of Swords in reverse and action. Okay, so what this could mean right here is we're afraid to take action for fear of maybe upsetting a tradition of some sort. Maybe Christmas is going to be different this year and we're too afraid to say something. We're too afraid to upset the status quo, and so we're staying quiet. But when we're staying quiet, we're suffering in some way because we're not letting out our truth. We're not saying what's going on. And the Hierophant here can be a Taurus individual, could also be in our lives on Tuesday, maybe making things difficult, or maybe being a very stiff and rigid kind of person. So the Hierophant can be a card of tradition. It can be a card of like religious orders, so there could be something going on with a religious thing. But where this is in reverse, it's feeling like it's not quite working out. It's feeling like something's wrong here, something's going on here, and it's not feeling good, okay? Because there's a lot here. We're wanting to take action, we're wanting to move forward, but maybe people in our environment aren't going to let us do that. And you know what? We do it anyway. We do it anyway because people don't get to decide what we do anymore. We're going to step into this. We're going to take our power back, okay? So then we have these cards here. Financial constraints. And then we have the Nine of Swords. Okay. And then we have the world in reverse. Okay? Our anxiety, our way of thinking, we are thinking, 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 and not doing. Like I said earlier, okay, this reading is panning out the exact way I said it was going to pan out. These cards are just sort of adding an extra little spicy layer of sauce, right? Little spicy layer here. But I'm seeing this being a situation where if the world is in reverse and we have the Nine of Swords, we're really kind of shooting ourselves in the foot. We're saying that we're going to fail at something before we even try, and that's a protection, quote unquote protection mechanism, because we're making it so that we don't try and fail, because that would be the worst thing, is if we tried wholeheartedly and failed. And what's really the worst thing is for us to never try in the first place. Okay, if we try and we try as hard as we can and we still fail, that's okay. At least you're trying something. You're taking a step. At least you're saying, you know what? I'm doing something. I'm trying. And I understand for some of us, our pride can get in the way. We can feel like it's not meant for us to go out there and put ourselves on the line. But the only way we advance is through that kind of thing. We have to be humble, and we have to realize we have to start somewhere. Okay? And a lot of times it's messy. A lot of times those starts are messy, not fun to go through. So then we have the Eight of Swords, hostilities in reverse, and the Fool in reverse. Okay? The Fool here, next to the World card, we need to start now. As I've been saying, we're holding off on starting something that could be beneficial for us, and I'm not exactly sure the reason why, but I have a feeling you're convincing yourself of the reason why. You're telling yourself, it's because this, and this reason. No, I'm going to call bullshit right here. You're making it so that you're stopping yourself. The only person stopping you in this situation is you, right? We need to do something where we go out. We do what needs to be done, because if we're stopping ourselves, then we can also start things ourselves, right? There's a lot of power in how we handle things, but this whole I'm waiting for the perfect moment, I'm just going to sit here and overthink, let me sit here and overthink, I'm overthinking now, that's not going to help us moving forward, okay? We're not going to benefit from that in any way, shape, or form. That's not going to be something we benefit from. So I want you guys to take this, look forward, take this energy, move it forward with you. Have it be something where you're welcoming change into your life, and you're going to have that be something new. Okay? If we feel like we're in a rut, we feel like we're stuck, we feel like we're disassociating, we feel like we're not in our bodies, a lot of things we can do is, first off, walking is really good. That's going to be something that can help, and I know as weird as that sounds. But also doing something new, putting ourselves back in our bodies. If the mundane is getting us down, if we're getting the doldrums from the dull and the unmiraculous, then let's do something. Let's shake things up a little bit. Because I feel like there's something here. I feel like there's a creative spark here, but that flame needs to be stoked. That flame needs to be going up there. Okay, so that's what I'm getting so far, you guys. And honestly, it's not a bad reading. We just need to take action instead of having this be something where we're waiting for that perfect moment. Because it won't happen, okay? I did that for years and years and years, waiting for the perfect moment to start my channel, waiting for the perfect moment to do this and that. The perfect moment never came. I made it happen, okay? And that's how it's going to be for everyone else here. You're going to have to make your perfect moment happen. And it won't be perfect. I'll tell you that right now. But it's something that's worthwhile. Okay. So at any point in time here, if you guys wouldn't mind liking and subscribing, I'd do it for you. Okay, so if you guys wouldn't mind doing that, I'd appreciate it. And I'm just going to do this here, move these cards over. Give these cards a little move around here. Boom, boom. Okay. All right. So I'm going to look again. We'll look for tomorrow and what tomorrow's energy is going to bring us. But yeah, hopefully you guys are having a good Tuesday so far. I know I am. I've been having some weird dreams though. I feel like that solar eclipse, that kind of energy, it's been bringing stuff to the surface. And so it's been interesting. It's been an interesting trip. What did you guys feel with the solar eclipse? Did you feel anything or have any interesting dreams? I should take these and put them back in here too. Hold. Let's go like this. Okay. Alright, time for some coffee. Why did I move it all the way over here? Alright. There we go. Okay, let's take a sip here. that's okay. That's a little too sweet. I sweetened this with some vanilla drops, and it's a little bit too sweet. Oh. It tastes like an espresso, you know what I mean? It doesn't taste good. But I'll drink it anyway. Us coffee drinkers can't be picky, can we? Alright, so let's do this here. I mean, some of us can. I do believe the word Karen exists just to describe a very picky coffee drinker. But let's see what we can come up with here. You know, shuffling the cards. Actually, I haven't done this yet. Let me do this here. There we go. Shuffling the cards is actually something that is... What do I do? Press that again? There we go. It's something that takes a little bit more than you'd think, right? These cards aren't too bad to shuffle, but there's a lot of cards out there. The thicker the card stock, the thicker I get of it. I don't like the thick cards. I love the way they look, though. I was showing my True Black Tarot deck yesterday. Beautiful cards. Beautiful cards. But I'm hearing some knocking somewhere. Okay, sorry about that. I was hearing some knocking somewhere, and so I was wondering what the heck was going on. So let me do this. Which way do I need to move this to make it? I think that way. No, that's kind of squeezed in there. Let me do this here. There we go. Okay, there we go. That will have to work. I'll just move this back a little bit more. There we go. And let's move it down. Perfect. Okay. I keep saying perfect, then I keep positioning it. So let's do that. Let's see what we can come up with here. Sounds like there's a woodpecker somewhere in the house. But I have a feeling it's just my girlfriend putting something up on the wall. Okay, one more shuffle here, and then we'll look at Wednesday's reading. And I do mean Wednesday Addams, not the day Wednesday, but just specifically her. So let's try this here. Let's get this going. Okay. Here we go, here we go. Alright, so set those off to the side. Then we have another deck we're shuffling here. That sound is my dog in the background, if you guys were wondering. She is, of course, telling us what's going on by making random sniffing noises. So that's, guess that's how dogs communicate. Alrighty. Two more shuffles with these ones. And let's do one more shuffle here. Okay, so we have this card right here, Door to Personal Healing and Happiness. That's a good card. Honestly, that's a pretty good card, I think. Then we have this card here, Angel of Strength in reverse. Okay, then we have this card right here, Attachment. Attachment in reverse, so non-attachment. So Door to Personal Healing and Happiness. Wednesday, we could be looking at a situation where we're going to do what makes us happy. So this is good. This is kind of the opposite of Tuesday. So Wednesday, we're going to be looking at things that make us happy, things that make us excited. And we're going to look at things in a non-attached way. So that means kind of more objectively, I guess you could say. That would be the kind of situation I would see that would relate to this, because otherwise it's kind of like, well, let's look at the other cards here. So we have attachment, and then we have Angel of Strength in reverse. And that to me could be other people getting us down, other situations getting us down. So we could be in a situation where maybe it's a relationship or a situationship. And this kind of situationship involves us not feeling loved, appreciated, or, in any of those kinds of ways. We just don't feel like we're in a relationship. We feel like we're in something that's more situational than like a long-term kind of a thing. And with this right here, Angel of Strength in reverse, maybe our door to personal healing and happiness is letting go of this connection that's no longer serving us. Okay? That could absolutely be the case. So why are we staying then? What's the reason for us to stay? If we're looking at not even being able to necessarily feel appreciated by our partner, why are we staying here? What's going on? That's what we're going to find out. So let's move this one more time over here. Okay. It's the same situation as before. You know what? That works. That actually works pretty good. All right, so let's move these cards up here. You were on my table before, you guys. You shouldn't get up on the table. Down. Get down. But you were on the table before. Now you're back in a nice, secure location. So... oh boy. Alrighty, let's see what we can do here. So I got these cards right here. Okay, we have Angel of Strength in reverse, Attachment in reverse, and Door to Personal Healing and Happiness upright. Those are going to be the cards we're going to look at here. So I'm going to put some other cards down. This is for Wednesday's energy. So let's look at that. Okay. Let's see what we can come up with here, guys. Okay. One more shufflety. That'll be enoughy of that stuffity. Let's do this here. Let's give it a real good... oh, there we go. Nice crispy shuffle there for you guys. Enough is enough, though. Let's get to the reading. Alright, so we have got these cards right here. So on Strength, Angel of Strength in reverse. Okay. When we're looking at this card, Angel of Strength in reverse, with the Five of Cups in reverse. So, how would I read that? Really, how would I... no, I'm just kidding. So, Angel of Strength in reverse and the Five of Cups in reverse, we need to be the person that fills our own cup up with emotional fulfillment, okay? If we're waiting for other people to come into our lives and make things better for us, we're putting a lot of power in other people's hands, and we're also making it so that those same people can affect us in other ways too. If other people can fulfill us, then other people can affect us in bad ways. Sometimes it's good, but sometimes it's not. And so when we have a sense of owning ourselves, when we have a sense of just having our kind of input be the most important, that's going to give rise to our own personal power. So if other people can manipulate us, that's going to make it so that we're always at the beck and call of others, right? So then we have attachment right here, okay? And then we have the Nine of Coins in reverse. Attachment and Nine of Coins in reverse is being in a situation where maybe physically we haven't been feeling well, financially we haven't been feeling well. Something's going on here, right? I don't know how you don't feel well financially. I guess your dollar bill calls in to work sick. I don't really know how that works, but this is something here where something's going on where we're just not feeling quite right. We're not feeling like we're going through life in a way that feels like we're flowing with it. It feels like we're resisting. a lot of what life has to offer us. But here's an interesting part right here. So Wednesday's general energy is door to personal healing and happiness, and the world right here. Hey, Radha, how are you doing? Awesome. You, hold on. 1 second here. Did you sign up to one of the memberships, Radha? That's awesome. Yeah. Awesome. I'm glad to hear you're doing good. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. That helps to support the channel, and that's going to be something awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. And interestingly enough, we're talking about finances, moving on there. And then we had this one here, door to personal healing and happiness, and the world card. I'm doing really good. I'm doing really good. I just had to, I'm trying to get things more organized for my channel. And I realized I wasn't fulfilling the promise that I put on Patreon where I would make videos that were just Patreon videos. Awesome. I'm glad you loved those stories. I'm glad you loved those stories. I'll try and do more story time. I'm kind of running out a little bit, though, of the super interesting ones. I have had some weird experiences, though, doing mediumship and doing stuff like that, so maybe that's something we can talk about. But yeah, I felt like I couldn't fulfill my promises on the Patreon part, and so I feel like this is going to be better. I feel like this is going to be better for basically everyone, and you get discounts. And I think today I have to update those discounts down there, but I'm going to try something a little bit differently with... I'll have to do more. I'll have to do more story time. Do you like the guided meditation videos too, or story time? I think we could make into something. I love discounts. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to be changing some stuff up from how it's been on the channel. We're going to kind of go in a different direction here. So as soon as we get more people on here, I can kind of explain what it is that we're going to be doing. But yeah. Okay, I'll try and do more guided meditations. That might be what I do on the weekends. I did that last weekend. And those ones I do like doing. I feel like we all need a chance, pardon the pun there, to reset, right? I feel like that's something we all need. Okay, let's try this here. So, we're looking at the next cards here for this kind of situation. So we have... Okay, that makes a ton of sense. All of this makes sense. All of this makes sense to me. So let's look at this. So, Wednesday's energy, we have got, okay? We've got the Angel of Strength in reverse. The Five of Cups in reverse. Okay. Sad horse. An upside down sad horse, but still a sad horse. Okay. Don't let that confuse you. Very sad. And then we have Ace of Pentacles right here. Okay. So, right here, kind of the same thing. We need to fulfill our own kind of conditions. There's this saying that says, if you want to attract something in your life, the best way to do it... Actually, there's not a saying like this. Halfway through, I'm realizing that I'm pulling stuff out of my ass here. But basically, if we are our own best friend, that's going to make it easier moving forward. Hey, human, how are you doing? That sounds weird when I say that. Hopefully, though, you're having a good Tuesday. That makes me sound like an alien. Hey, human. Okay. All right. So we have to be the source of fulfillment for ourselves. And a lot of times we leave that up to other people, like I was saying before. A lot of times it is left up to everyone else. Awesome. Thank you, human. I think I will carry on. Yes. Okay, so then we have attachment in reverse. We have Nine of Pentacles in reverse. And we have the Hierophant. This is actually pretty similar to what we were getting with Tuesday's energy, but it's going to be us reclaiming that sense of power. So the Hierophant card, this right here deals with traditional authority figures. So a traditional authority would be things that we've been told are authority figures. It can be parents, it could be the police, it could be religious leaders. There's actually quite a bit that this could be, that this could kind of turn into. So, but we could be having a situation where maybe our identity or our sense of self is attached to how these authority figures view us. And if it's not favorable, we could fall apart. All of us want to feel validated in how we're living, but sometimes in our environment, the way that we are as people and the way that someone else is looking at us, it's not possible. And it doesn't mean that we're doing something wrong. It just means that someone is going out of their way to misunderstand us, and that does happen sometimes. Hey there, AH716. I'll call you 716. That probably will make it a little easier for me. And then we have this card here. So door to personal healing and happiness. Okay. And then the world. And Ace of Swords in reverse. Okay. We just need to change our way of thinking. Something is stopping us. It's kind of like this sticky feeling when it comes to thinking. And I've talked about this before, right? I've talked about this. So we have what's called DMN, Default Mode Network. And the way this works is that the brain likes to, when it has a certain way of thinking about things, it kind of makes this little groove, right? You can almost imagine like a snowy hill. No one's been on that hill. No one's like sledded down it or anything. It's just completely blank snow. There's not even footprints in it. Then when one sled goes down that hill, it makes it so that every other sled that lines up to those tracks will go down the same way that sled went down. Maybe it'll veer off a little bit, but it's a way of thinking that we can't quite get out of. The way we change that is by changing habits, by changing the way we view the world. But DMN, Default Mode Network, that is our default way of thinking about something. So if we're someone who is very negative, that's our DMN, that's our Default Mode Network. We can change it, but it takes time. Thank you, human, I appreciate that. But it takes time to change this way of thinking. And another thing is that when we're talking about the brain and how it operates, right, we have neurons and we have synapses. Whenever we're doing something, these kinds of things are communicating to each other. Our neurons in our brain, these synapses, right, they communicate with each other. And over time, if we're building up a skill or we're trying to learn something new, this way of thinking becomes almost second nature, right? It's kind of like if you can imagine when you start doing a new skill, it's really difficult at first, but then in a few months or in a year or so, when you start to master it more and more, you can just pick it up and you can play it second nature because you have your synapses actually grow stronger together. They form what's called a myelin sheath, and it makes it so communication between your synapses is, I think it's like 10,000 times faster. And so that's why at first, when you're starting to play the guitar, you have to look at every chord and have to be really aware of where your fingers are. But then eventually you could just listen to the radio and you could start playing along too. Do people do that anymore? Do people listen to the radio? What is this, the 1920s? Okay. Anyway, you guys know what I'm saying. Hey, iRise, how are you doing? So I'm going to start doing stuff differently on the channel. I'm going to start doing stuff differently. So I'm going to do $5 for 5 minutes. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, iRise. I appreciate that. But I'm going to do $5 for 5 minutes, and if you guys want to go deeper than that, yes, it comes down to just absolutely human, absolutely. It comes down to just practice. And you know what's interesting too? People don't think of this. People don't think of this necessarily. But this person's name right here is human, right? Don't you find it odd when we're talking about the light body and stuff like that? Human, right? Like the hue, the color of something, light. And then man. So hue, man. I think that's an interesting thing. We're called humans, like light beings, right? Yes, iRise, super chat is okay. Super chat is absolutely fine. I'll do 5 minutes, and if we need another little bit, then I'll do another 5 minutes, but that'll be another $5. But I'm going to try and give you everything I can as fast as I can. I'm not going to spend a super long amount of time doing my readings anymore. It's just going to be quick. Because I know you guys have that. You guys have things you need to do too, don't you? So I'm going to be quick, but I'm going to give you guys the answers. And super chat's fine. Okay, so let's do this here. Glad you guys like the analogy. Thank you for the like, guys. I appreciate that. Hey, Kayanat Bakari. That's as well as I could say your name. Hopefully that's right. Looks like a beautiful name. But like I've said many times, if your name isn't Greg, I'm going to have a hard time pronouncing it. I am the most uneducated Caucasian person you've ever met when it comes to other people's names. So forgive me for that. Okay. Alrighty. Perfect. Thank you very much. And let me write your name. Let me write your name down here. Okay. Okay. Let me do this here. Thank you for the other like, guys. I'm appreciating this so far. This is awesome. Okay, I'm just writing some stuff down here because the older you get, the less memory you have. So remember that as you move into adulthood. Also, the older you get, the more you think about whenever you bend over, what else can I pick up while I'm down here? Because it doesn't happen very much. Also, never pass up a bathroom. Never pass up a bathroom. The older you get, whenever you see one, even if you don't think you need to go, just do it anyway. Okay, so I rise. Let's write your name down here. I haven't started your time yet, so I'm only 32, but I feel like I'm 64 sometimes. A little bit here. But no. Okay. Remember, guys, a like and a subscription would help the channel grow. You're 30. Okay, I shouldn't complain about being old then. I shouldn't. It sounds weird. As soon as you hit 32, though, everything changes. Your bones just feel different. You know, you wake up in the morning, half asleep. No amount of coffee makes that better. Okay. Perfect, perfect. All right, so I'm going to start the timer now, and we're going to see what we can do. Actually, I'm going to shuffle the cards first and then start the timer because I feel like that's fair. That gives us time to talk. I'm doing this, you guys, because if you know me and you've been to the channel before, I tend to drag things on and on. And you guys have been very sweet, you've been very kind, but I want to be quicker. I want to be quicker, but still give you guys awesome information, helpful information. So, let me see what I can do here. Okay. Oh, 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 oh. Every now and again, I realize you guys have never seen my feet. I'm pretty sure you've never seen it. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I thought the only good pair of jeans I had was my my denim ones in the other room. So thank you for saying I've got pretty good jeans. That's very nice of you. I'm just going to call you Hugh because calling you human, it makes me feel like an alien every time I say it, so I'll just call you Hugh. Okay. You guys have been very nice today, and I appreciate that. Always love the positive vibes on the channel. Alright, I'm getting the tingles, guys. Nobody knows what that means. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Hi, Farine. So I'm gonna be doing this, you guys. $5 for 5 minutes. $10 for 10 minutes. You know, that's what I'm gonna be doing moving forward. And then that way you guys can ask me questions if I'm moving quicker, and then it's not question based. So we'll see what we can do. I'm going to try to work on this. I don't. Actually I do. I do this. Hold on. Ta-da! No, hold on. There we go. So The orb to which I ponder with is out of commission, this one down here. It's really hard to mirror myself on this camera, but that one right there, it's out of commission. This lava lamp, it's just a lamp at this point. And this one right here, this one's working, right? So, and yeah, I don't have my green screen up or anything right now. I figure you guys kind of want to see my background and you want to see me in the foreground. Okay. 5 minutes. I'm going to set a timer here. Like I said, this may seem weird. This may seem weird that I'm setting a timer, but I tend to drag things on. Okay. I'm just going to shuffle these other cards, these Energy Oracle, and we're going to look at the question, and then I'll start the timer. Yeah, I don't like having the... I mean, the green screen is kind of a pain to set up anyway. But it's one of those things that I feel like it brings you guys out of the reading a little bit, because it seems like I'm trying to hide something in the background, right? Or, you know, maybe I'll bring it back. I was also doing OBS software and stuff like that when I was streaming, and I've kind of moved away from that a little bit. Okay, so let's do this here. One more shovel. I'm gonna take this into consideration. Okay, so we're gonna start the timer now. Okay, there we go. So what will MWA bring? So let's look at that. MWAA, what will that bring? Here we go. Okay, and I'm going to draw one more card and put on top of that one. Wow, okay. MWAA, we get these two cards. We get Hostilities and the Devil. So obviously this is a good sign, right? Obviously this is good. No, MWAA, I'm thinking we're going to bring about the Antichrist right here. No, I actually don't know. This seems like it might be a little aggressive. MWAA. I'm feeling like the energies might be a little off for that. So let's look at this other one here and see what we get. Let's see. What will Southwest Airlines bring? Southwest Airlines, we have this. So here's what I'm seeing here. We get the Hierophant and Contract in Reverse. And now I'm going to read what these mean. So MWAA right here, Hostilities and the Devil. This to me feels like there could be something that's difficult in this job, especially with hostilities. I'm wondering if maybe the workplace or if something just doesn't feel like it's quite right. It seems like something's going on here with MWAA. Maybe the hiring process or maybe something's off. Could be that the people might not vibe with you personally. That's kind of what I'm feeling. So that could be a situation there. Now with the Southwest Airlines though, we have Contract in Reverse. Oh, it's an emergency communications technician position. Okay, okay. And then we have Contract in Reverse and the Hierophant for Southwest Airlines. Okay. So it's a shame that they can only fly Southwest, right? Because if they could fly in other directions, they'd get people to their locations quicker. Having to go around the world in that direction is difficult. But we have Contract in Reverse and the Hierophant for Southwest. And that to me is saying, well, here's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like Southwest is going to be a situation where I feel like you'll be more comfortable working there, but something is telling me it's not going to be for a very long time. When I see Contract in Reverse, it feels like you're going to be there and then possibly another... Well, thank you. I like that too. I like that there... Yes. So Contract in Reverse and then the Hierophant. So this card we were talking about it earlier, the Hierophant in Reverse is non-traditional. So working with Southwest, I feel like would be something that would take some getting used to. It would be non-traditional in the way that you're operating, but I feel like it would be something where we could challenge ourselves in some way. I'm feeling like there's going to be a teeny bit of pushback from either job, but something is telling me Southwest is going to be a better match. So I'm going to draw a couple more cards here. Have a start date for 1/10/2022. We've talked about this before. We've talked about this before, if I can remember. It's ground operations. Okay. Okay. But I feel like something's going to happen here where you're not going to be staying at Southwest. I feel like you'll work there. But something to me feels like we're going to use that as a launching board for possibly something else in the future. It doesn't feel like we're staying there. It feels like we're using it as a means towards an end, not as like staying there forever. At least that's what I'm feeling with these cards. Okay, so then let's draw another card here and look at this. You reapplied locally. Okay. Yeah, so right here, I get all tied up. This one's in reverse. And so there's something here with freedom, with wanting to do something here. But that's what I'm seeing. I do feel like Southwest would be better. That to me would feel like that's going to be a better thing. The MWAA doesn't sound like a bad option, but for some reason I'm feeling like it's not quite your speed. It's not quite something you would necessarily feel comfortable in after you got hired. I feel like you're qualified. It has nothing to do with qualifications, but maybe others around you wouldn't perceive you in the way that we would necessarily. I feel like you'd have to fight for your right to kind of just exist a little bit with MWAA, or it just feels like it would be more difficult, right? It just feels more difficult in that one. But the Southwest one feels like there's going to be much more freedom. But again, something's telling me that it is not going to be something that is forever. I feel like it's going to be you that walks away from the position. It's not going to be like you're fired or anything, but I feel like it's going to be maybe this, and then maybe there could be another opportunity down the road. So that's what I'm feeling here. Hopefully that makes sense. We have a teeny bit of time left here. 7, 5, 4. Wow, it went from 7 straight to 5. Okay, now I'm wondering if my timer's any good. Okay. That Rugrats bullshit can go away. I don't need that in my life. Hopefully, though, I Rise, that makes sense. Because also Southwest, and your name being I Rise, there's some synchronicities there, isn't there? You're kind of going up in the air, you're rising up in the air. But I'm seeing it as being a good situation there, so hopefully that helped answer the question. You'd like to know more? Okay. So if you want to do a little bit more, then you can do another 5 if that's something you'd want to do. Okay, perfect. All right, this is awesome. Thank you, Hugh. Yeah, I'm trying my best here to give people something, and I'm still learning myself. I'm still definitely learning myself. Haven't started your timer yet, I Rise. We're going to look a little bit more. I'm going to shuffle the cards here first. So let me do this. And yeah, thank you guys for just being very, very respectful. I appreciate that. Everyone's being very kind. But I'm still learning. I'm still doing this. I'm still learning. Hopefully, I'm going to be taking a class. It's a year-long class. You have a few options to consider. Okay. So I Rise, if you want to preface the question before I start reading, we can do that. And then it makes it so that I can just kind of dive right into those energies. Okay? If that's something you feel comfortable with doing. But I'm going to be taking a class. Again, haven't started the time yet. I'll let you know when I start. And it's a year long, and it's something that will help increase my intuitive abilities, hopefully. The teacher is it's an author, one of my favorite authors, and she teaches everything from remote viewing to just intuitive ability and some mediumship. Okay, what will come from the interview with DHS? Okay, perfect. So let me shuffle these up here. But I'm hoping that goes well. So, I Rise, what will come from the interview with DHS? Does anyone remember VHS? Was that a thing? You know? I haven't thought of a VHS tape in a long time. Okay, so, wow, okay, there is some options here, it sounds like. My only options are in the morning what kind of coffee I'm going to have, so this is impressive right here. What will come from the interview with DHS? What will the Coast Guard bring? Videotapes, yes, videotapes. See, we don't even say it anymore, right? It can, human, it can, Hugh, it will change your life, but the Seven of Cups, yes, tons of choices, I rise. I love that. I love that you're able to put in your own cards. It's kind of like, what am I doing here? If I could just snap my fingers and disappear, I think I could just hold the cards up and you could read for yourself here. But yeah, Seven of Cups for sure. So let's do this here. All right. So I'm going to do two piles. So I'm not going to start the timer yet. This is my first day doing this way. So I appreciate you guys for being patient. I don't think this is going to work when I'm doing my mediumship, right? It's like, Spirit, hurry up and talk, hurry. Probably have to have a different system for that. Okay, one more time. Okay, so DHS, I'm going to lay some cards down, and then I'm just putting them face down, and then as soon as I hit the timer, I'm going to flip them over. I won't tell you what they say, but I will stare at them for 5 minutes, and you can kind of infer from my eyebrows what I'm thinking. We'll communicate telepathically here. So now let's do this. Let me move these over, and let's start the timer now. Okay. So DHS is going to be this pile here to the left that I'm looking at. So let's look at that. What will come from the interview with DHS? Okay, I get woman holding a coin in reverse and the Empress in reverse. If I've ever seen anything that says don't do it, this right here would be the thing that says don't do it. These are two aspects that represents divine feminine that are saying no. I'm feeling like DHS, something feels like it could be off here. Primarily, woman holding a coin in reverse feels like maybe financially, maybe something's going on there. But also the Empress in reverse is meaning that there could be some people or a situation that doesn't feel like it would necessarily be kind in this capacity. It doesn't feel like it's a proper fit. It feels like something's missing here. I mean, primarily, like I said, woman holding a coin, and this one was in reverse. If it was upright and the Empress was upright, to me, I would look at that and I'd be like, awesome, awesome. And when we're talking about a job situation, the you're good, Hugh. Don't worry about that. But when you're looking at this kind of situation here, this is a job situation. So a lot of the obstacles that can come from a job interview or a situation, they are out of your control. They're not necessarily something we can change. So that's why when I see these two in reverse, I'm thinking, something seems off here. Something seems a little off here. Okay, so let's do woman holding a coin in reverse, and we have that one. So let's move on here, and let's look at what will the Coast Guard reserves bring. Let's look at that. Okay. And this card wanted to flip over as well. So apparently this one is coming up for this as well, so I'll read this as part of it. 6th Chakra, Archangel Metatron, right here. I do feel the Coast Guard, this is going to bring experience, this is going to bring a sense of freshness, this is going to bring something here. It kind of like, you think it's water, but it's actually Sprite, that kind of crispy freshness, that's kind of what I'm talking about here. So a new kind of perspective, that fizzly bubbly kind of is what I'm talking about. Daughter of Wands in reverse. In this deck, the Daughter of Wands is viewed as kind of this negative figure. So when I get it in reverse, there will be, and then I have this one here. I have Journey in reverse. There will be some resistance. There will be some resistance. Nothing you couldn't handle, though. I'm feeling like the Coast Guard reserves, that seems to me like to be a good option. But it does feel like when I see Journey in reverse, maybe it's going to take a while for that to get started or for that to take place. So it could be like something's kind of coming in here and it's telling us to wait, or it's telling us that it's not quite the time, but I do feel like something beneficial could come from this. My advice is do all the jobs, get burned out, and then be done with it. No, honestly, the Coast Guard seems good. The Coast Guard seems good. And when I see 6th Chakra, Archangel Metatron right here, that is a card that is about the intuitive. The 6th Chakra is the third eye chakra, okay? And it's good that I've got a third eye because I'm blind in one of them, so I still only have two. But that's what I'm seeing here. What would come from you doing tarot on Etsy? Okay. Okay. We got another card situation question, so we're gonna hurry and mad scramble this here. Boom 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 boom. Here we go. Here we go. Alrighty. Okay, so tarot on Etsy. Here's what I get. I get 6 chakra. Sorry, I get 7th chakra Archangel Uriel in reverse, and I get 4th chakra or four of cups right here. Okay, 4 of cups is generally a card of rest, and then when I see the chakra here, I'm wondering if it's something you feel comfortable in doing. It feels to me like there's some pushback here. I feel your energy. You feel psychic. You feel like there's something there for sure, but I don't know if you have the confidence to necessarily pursue it. Not that you can't, not that you don't have the know-how, but maybe something's blocking us in that way from reading for other people, right? That's what I'm seeing here. I feel like you have the capability. I feel like you have the know-how, but sometimes setting stuff up, really getting ourselves out there can be overwhelming. So I would say this would not be a bad option. When I see the 7th chakra in reverse, it's wanting to be upright. Any of these cards that are in reverse want to be upright. And so the only obstacle would be listening to your inner voice, listening to that divine intuition when we're doing readings, when we're doing this. In my opinion, okay, hold on one second. Okay, hold on. Okay, I'm just going to say this right here. I'll have this be the last thing I say. In my opinion, when we're doing tarot, the way that we can start making money, the way we can start doing this is going to be to listen to that intuition. Eventually, the cards are really good, but you're going to start seeing things in the cards that aren't there, and that's our intuition coming in. And if we can listen to that and relay that to other people, that's going to make us successful in doing this. And we just have to get the confidence up too. I've done almost 500 videos now on my channel. Almost 500 videos. And when I first started out, I was shaky as hell. And there's still times where I get that way. But with practice comes, you come into your own. And so finding your voice and stuff like that, it would take some time. Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, this is more of a, I feel like it's more divine feminine. And so it's more about the feminine taking this role on. And so, yeah, I'm trying my best here to do what I can. And yeah, I haven't seen a lot of male tarot readers either. But, here's hope that there's more and more, because I feel like there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that if it's a positive force, right? Hopefully. But Rise, does what I'm saying make sense? Because when I see this card underneath the 7th chakra, Archangel Uriel in reverse, rest. Resting, but not resting as in like we're not doing, but resting as in we need to understand what that would necessarily entail. Doing tarot on Etsy or doing it on any platform, there's going to be things that come up that we weren't necessarily expecting. So if we know the ins and outs, we know what we're doing, I'd say give it a shot, right? Okay. All right, Rise, if you have another question here, hopefully the 5 minutes, you guys feel like that's enough time. I'm trying to talk fast, which apparently I'm really good at when I'm feeling that coffee buzz. You know what I mean? So, now I gotta calm myself down. Whew. Okay. Remember to like and subscribe, guys, if you wouldn't mind. Yeah, I definitely would appreciate that. Awesome. Awesome. Perfect. Yes. Yes. So, Hugh, it's going to be about the... I started with astrology videos on YouTube, but it's so discouraging. I always say this. Hey, Emily. Hey, so Emily, here's what I do, my friend. I do $5 for 5 minutes, and you can ask me questions. I'm going to be quick. I'm going to be to the point, but you can ask me questions during that 5 minutes. So if that feels like something you want to do, we can do that. $10 for 10 minutes. But again, I'm quick. I'll give you guys the answers. But yeah, YouTube is an interesting platform. I feel like you can be on YouTube, but my honest understanding, the way I started out, was tarot. Okay, tarot for me was the gateway drug. You start with tarot first, like, what are these underneath your bed, son? They're tarot cards. And then I say, I learned it from you, Dad. It didn't happen that way, but you understand what I'm saying. Tarot is the gateway towards understanding other spiritual concepts, in my belief, because tarot teaches us the subconscious and the archetypes and the symbols that are in the psychic world. And Hugh, to address your question, yes, the feminine and the masculine aspects of the psychic will definitely blend together as time moves on. I absolutely firmly believe that. That's going to be an interesting time, though, because the divine feminine psychic ability is subjective. I'm seeing it. I'm giving you the information that I'm seeing. That's what's going on. The divine masculine psychic ability is objective, meaning that generally the divine masculine affects the physical world in some way. So it's an objective kind of reality, whereas the psychic is divine feminine, energy healing, mediumship, psychic ability, stuff like that, astral projection. Okay. But there's ways that those two interact with each other. Okay, so you're welcome, Hugh. Thank you for bringing such a positive energy. I appreciate that. Um, I can call her. I can try calling Hazel, but she doesn't always respond. It's kind of like when she's ready to come to me, she shall be summoned by her own will. Um, I don't have any pull with her. If you guys know what cats are like, you should know that they kind of don't give a shit. You could want them to come to you as badly as anything else, and they're just kind of like, I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm sorry, but they're not sorry. It's a lie. Um, so you said I started iRise. You said I started with tarot, but I see it as more private. Sometimes it's hard to read for yourself. 100% absolutely it's hard to read for ourselves because we are biased. I'm biased for myself. I'll tell you right now, if I get a card, it's Major Arcana, and it's in reverse, I might just take my fingers and I might flip that upright and be like, you know what, I'm not reading reversals this time. I always read reversals, but when it's bad, I flip the cards around and I'm like, man, this is going to be a good day tomorrow. This is going to be great. So yes, we're biased. That's something we have to get over. We have to realize that the tarot calls us out on our shit, but it's not supposed to be a negative thing. It's supposed to help us. It's supposed to help us with that. Um, but it's actually common. Okay, iRise, I want you to realize that it's common. It's common that you're not able to read yourself, or you're not able to read yourself well, because again, we have stake in the game. Our skin's in the game here. We have a reason to be biased. With anyone else online or anything like that, it doesn't matter as much because I can give them an objective reading because I don't have any skin in the game for them. I don't have anything that I'm getting necessarily. And so that's something that takes practice too. But you can read yourself, but you have to be honest with what you're getting. Right, but then people will confirm my readings as well, so I check to see if others see the same. Okay, yeah, and that makes sense. But it really, you start reading for yourself, and then other people, and then situations or events. That's something you can do. If we ever feel that way, the more readings I get, the more contradicting it becomes. Yes. Okay. So one reader will say this, another will say that. That's because, okay, here's my kind of interpretation, right? I feel like, right, it's like follow your own inner compass. Some of us, though, our GPS system's been offline for a minute. And so sometimes I feel like, it's each psychic, each tarot reader is going to see things differently. And what's really funny is that we can have contradicting readings from different readers, and they can both resonate with us. And so that creates kind of a situation, cognitive dissonance, right? Where but there's two truths possibly diametrically opposed, but there's something there. There's something that's going on there, and we have to pick which one is right for us. And so, yeah, I always feel like when people are talking about tarot readers or they're talking about psychics, shop around. Shop around for a while, like dip your toes in as much water of the psychics as you can. And when you find someone that's good, that's a good match for you. But definitely, look around here. It's a slippery slope. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So Aloe, uh, I'm just gonna call you Aloe. Um, So I'm gonna be doing 5 minutes for $5. So if anyone wants to ask any questions, 5 minutes for $5. I don't start your time until I've shuffled the cards and the cards are down, so that way, I'm not spending a minute and a half shuffling and then, you guys feel like you're getting gypped. Some chocolate gypped cookies here. No, no, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna give you guys some full fat mother's cookies. I don't know if you guys have had those. Those are good. Those are some good cookies. Coffee makes me crave sweets. It's just how it is. Okay. So, yeah, it's much easier to read. You're very welcome, Irise. Thank you so much for stopping by and for coming on here, and I hope it helped you. I appreciate you coming by. Everyone so far, you guys have been raising the vibration, and I appreciate that immensely because that's what makes it a good community, is you guys. Yes, Chantel, cookies are indeed delicioso. Very good, very, very tasty. I've been told they are nutritious as well, so I'm eating as many as I can. I gotta get those vitamins, right? It's a hard thing to do, but I gotta get those vitamins. But yeah, the psychic world, it's all about just perception, and different psychics will see different things. Now I want cookies. Well, we live in a world where cookies do exist, everyone. I'm thinking oatmeal. Someone out there is thinking of some oatmeal cookies. Maybe snickerdoodle. You could eat them in alive to recharge. I definitely could. I'd have to find some pretty good cookies though. Used to really like the Chips Ahoy. That was like the chewy Chips Ahoy was my favorite growing up as a kid. Um, I don't know why I say growing up as a kid. I'm still a kid at heart. So yeah, there's that. So if anyone, you guys, if you wouldn't mind liking and subscribing, I'd appreciate that. Every now and again, I have to throw that out there about every 20 minutes. So. Yes, I do. I do, Hugh. I have a sister. I do have a sister. She is not into. She's a very sweet person, but she's not into the spiritual stuff like I am. I'm the only one in my family that I can think of that's into this at all. Right? I had 6 sisters. Jeez. That's a lot. That's a lot of sisters. I just have one other sibling. Uh, Man, that's a lot. I imagine that's kind of hectic. I might branch out here and either say mom and dad are Catholic or Mormon. Maybe. Maybe. There might be something. I'm just kidding. I'm just messing around. But sometimes that does happen. Like rabbits. Like rabbits in those religions. Are you studying your transmutation circles? Right, some are really hype. Um, I I feel guilty if I say no, but no, I'm not studying my transmutation circles. It does sound cool though. It sounds like something someone in Harry Potter would say. Like, are you are you studying your what do you mean specifically, Chantel, when you're talking about transmutation circles? Because I know alchemically transmutation is to take something and turn it into something else. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about, but in a manifestation way. Ah, okay, Dad's Christian. Okay, all right, I can see that. I can see that being the case. Like rabbits, like rabbits. Okay. Anyway, um, that's crazy. 6 sisters. Do you have brothers too, or is it just sisters? I assume you said 6 sisters because maybe that's all. But wow, I couldn't even imagine that. That's crazy. Okay. Let's shuffle some cards here, and let's look at some cards. And I will say this for those of you interested in pursuing the spiritual path, because Hugh brought something up that I thought was interesting. Said that they didn't necessarily want to dive into this because it could change their life. And yeah, that can absolutely happen, right? That's something that could absolutely happen. And when we're talking about the spiritual realm, there are certain things that kind of speed up our, I guess you'd call it karma. And things could happen to us, fall apart around us, but generally they're things that were never there for us in the first place. So it gets rid of illusion, right? I'm the only guy amongst the siblings. It is what it is, yeah. And I can understand, because you grew up, you had that, so I can understand that. I just couldn't imagine, because only having one sister, You could use transmutation symbols with marker or pen or chalk to use for spells, but it's more different. It's more different, precise for a direct target outcome. There are transmutation circle symbols. I think I've seen some of them. There's the... It's probably not the same thing, but the... What is it called? Because Solomon had different circles that he would use, but I'm pretty sure that was used for binding certain things. But there's like the... Yeah, I know about those kinds of circles. Not how to do them or anything like that, but I do know about the binding circles when it comes to magic and those kinds of practices. And there's the... I can't remember exactly. I can't remember the book, but if I think of it, I'll let you guys know. But I've heard of some. I've worked on some sigils before and stuff like that. Like probably not even close to the same thing, but let's see this here. Here we go. Let's shuffle these ones here, and let's just kind of look at what's going on here. Different energies are coming in here all the time, so let's see what's going on. And remember, guys, I'm trying to know which is the best steps. I'm trying my best. I'm doing my best there. If you guys are wanting to do the 5-minute $5 question, we can absolutely do that. You guys just let me know. Okay, let's do this one more time. Yeah, it does. It does look like another planet, and that I kind of like that. I kind of like that. Something to kind of help break up the space a little bit. So I like that too. Let's see what we got here. Energies. Okay, so here's what we could be dealing with energetically wise for some of us. So I see... Okay, let's try that again. I see the Star card in reverse, and I see a woman holding a heart in reverse. Okay? So these two right here, it kind of does look like an album cover. Like an album cover. It definitely looks like that, like something out of this world, or something like... Tycho's good. Yeah, actually, that could be something from Tycho. I really like... I listened to that song. I listened to Tycho... Hold on. There's one song in particular that I really like from them. Let me see. I can't remember what it's called. Is it Awake? Give me 1 second here, you guys. It's going to take me just a second. Yeah, I think it's Awake. It should be coming up here. Okay, maybe not. Anyway, yes, I like Tycho as well. They are good. I don't want to spend too much time on that. But yeah, it does kind of have that, because I think in one of their album covers it was like this right here, right? The sun kind of symbol or something. I can't really remember. So star card in reverse with woman holding a heart, also in reverse. Okay. So this right here is definitely a situation where we could be pining over somebody or they could be pining over us. They're not necessarily in our physical vicinity, meaning they're not right next to us. There's Hazel right there. I know we were looking for her. The queen has arrived and she is chowing down. Okay, she's going to Chow Town as we speak. So the star in reverse, Aquarius card as well. When it's in reverse though, because normally like this, the star card represents hippity hoppity hope, but when it's in reverse, it's more drippity droppity. Not good. Then we have woman holding a heart in reverse here. And yeah, there we go. She's a sweetheart, you guys. Sweetest cat. Just like Trixie, I've got another cat, a female cat, Trixie, outside. Very sweet as well. I feel like female cats are just nicer. I call him Big Chungus Boy. He's the Yoshi. His name's Yoshi. He's a big gray butterball boy, and he's a little mean. But he's sweet with me, so that's what works. Yeah, she's a what would you say you are, Hazel? I think she likes the exotic part, you know. I think she's an American. Is it an American? Mackerel tabby. That's what she is. So she's a mackerel tabby. Yoshi, our other cat, is also a mackerel tabby. You can tell they're a mackerel tabby because they have an M right here by their, and they're dramatic as well. Mackerel tabbies are known for being very dramatic with simple things. My cats lose their mind up here, and this drives me nuts sometimes because it's like in the middle of the night, whenever, doesn't matter. But up by where their food bowl is, there's 2 food bowls up there. If one food bowl can be completely full, absolutely full, and if the other one is empty, they freak out about it. They will not touch the other food bowl. They just won't. And they'll start screaming for food, and it's like all you have to do is turn your head like 3 inches and there's food right there. I wish I could be that picky, let me just put it that way. Anyway, cats are fun. Hey, Hazel. Hey. You want to come up here? Hazel? Alright. She says no. She says no for right now, but she's a very sweet cat. Regardless. Okay. Hey, Hugh, you are just fine. You're not being rude at all. Get some sleep if you can get some sleep. Whenever I'm live, if you want to come on here, or if you just want to leave a comment or whatever, feel free to do so, my friend. But if you need to get some sleep, absolutely. You're not being rude. Let yourself get some rest. Thank you for coming by. I always appreciate new people coming in here with their positive energy. That's always my favorite. Okay. Let's look at some stuff here. Let's do a little bit of, I guess, some story time. Unless someone has a little question here. Peace to you too, my friend. Hopefully I see you, I'll see you when I see you, okay? But you take care and be safe. Alright. I don't know how much coffee is in here, but I feel like I've been drinking it forever. Okay, so also you guys, if you want, we can do, you can look at my website for readings too. I do energy work and almost anything you can imagine. I'm wanting to start doing astral projection practice again. That is a very personal choice if you guys want to embark on a journey like that, but that's what my guides can help with, is helping to lift you out of body or helping you to to kind of get into that state. I feel like my guides generally work in two ways. One of them is hypnotism, and the other one is just kind of like energy work in general. So my energy tends to put people to sleep, not in a way like what the vet would do, but in, you know, my energy tends to put people in a napping state, let's say. And so if that's something you guys feel like you want to do, we can try doing that. I'm wanting to get back into that practice again. It's not even listed on my website. I should probably make a special section just for that. But I went to Ireland and taught a class, and I did energy work in Ireland on people and helping them to achieve out of body states and different forms of consciousness. So that's something you're interested in. We can definitely do that too. Okay. All right, so let's move on here. Let's see what we can come up with. I'm going to crack my knuckles, twiddle my fingers, and let's see what we can do here. So, what do you guys want to do? You guys tell me. Do you want to talk about... Do you guys want to look at some cards with me together? We can talk about some psychic stuff, different ways of developing, just the spiritual world in general. We can definitely do that too. It's whatever you guys feel like doing. And if we don't choose anything, I'll choose something for us. So don't feel any pressure to talk if you guys feel like you don't want to. Let me look over here though, and let me look at my my books. Let's see. Give me just a second here, guys. Okay. Thought I could find a book for us. Couldn't find a book. But I'm gonna shuffle some cards here. I got a lot of books back there, but I don't know if there'd be anything that interests you guys necessarily. I've got books on... Okay, Rada's fine with whatever. So I have a book on several different things. Haven't read a lot of them. I'm more into the... It's like more intuitive realm and the more like psychic tarot stuff. But I've got books on witchcraft, white magic, black magic, not black magic as much. There are uses for that too, though. Don't get me wrong. There are uses. But it's one of those situations where I feel like I don't personally know enough myself. I do have a book of spells. You guys saw me bring that out a little while ago. 1001 spells. But basically, if we're talking about magic, we're going to be talking about... Let's talk about being a... like a kitchen witch or a chaos magician, right? And those two things, to me, it just means you're able to improv when it comes to different things. And so that's something that I feel like is really important that we can look at. A lot of people think the ritual is the most important part when we're doing spell work. It isn't. The ritual part of it can be helpful, but the intention is what's the most important. There are gift crystals or stones you could give, but I'm sure anyone can command a crystal. But it takes consistency to get personal crystals to do things. I would imagine it does. As you're giving your energy to the crystal, it's giving its energy to you. If it's like working with spirits, then it's a process of you being open and vulnerable to the fact of absorbing the energy, right? Awesome, thank you. And I got these guys right here. These ones, I've done so much work with these crystals, and these guys have not let me down. They're pretty powerful. I use these as like a focal point. If my energy is like a laser, then these crystals are the lens that the laser goes through. And when it does that, it can give people release in different areas that they need in their life. But it's definitely one of my favorite mediums to work with, as well as being a medium. It's one of my other favorite mediums. Okay, so that's something there. But crystals are immensely powerful, depending on how we use them. But it's really the intention too. There is spirits, or spirit, or source, or whatever, in anything. In absolutely everything. I truly believe that everything on this earth has consciousness. Maybe not quite to the level that we have it. But then who's to say they don't, right? Who's to say that a rock is just not a very slow moving elemental spirit? Or who's to say that a tree definitely has stuff going on too? There's a there's a video on YouTube where, and this has happened several times, people take these electrodes, like these little clamps that have electricity, they put them on leaves of trees, and the tree actually is singing. You get to hear what like a tree sounds like, and it's beautiful. They sing, and that to me is interesting. And then, yes, all things have conscience. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And then if you take there, and this to me is kind of eerie sounding, but it's beautiful in its own way. Um, there's crickets, right? Everybody knows what a cricket is. They rub their legs together and they squeak real loud. Okay, that's the best interpretation I can give of a cricket. But if you slow down, if you slow down the crickets chirping at night, it sounds like angels singing. It's kind of creepy singing, but it sounds like they're singing, and it's kind of beautiful. It's kind of beautiful. It sounds a little eerie to me when I hear it. It reminds me of something that makes me feel a little freaked out, but it's beautiful nonetheless, right? Because there's nothing there that's negative. It's just kind of how my body interprets that. So that's interesting. Okay, so Chantel says, like a pendulum, if someone's energy is strong, pendulum can pull in a spirit to hold it and transfer it to another spot. If hard-headed, but crystals, somebody tumble on floor to disperse protection. I've watched a video on the plants singing. I felt elemental energies before. Um, Generally speaking, though, it's not like, let's say I go out into the world in some way, shape, or form. A lot of places around the world have guardian spirits, have like these very powerful, um, very strong, what do you call them? Protectors, I guess, like protector spirits. And they're very, very, they can be pretty serious, I mean, depending on the spirit, but they're very strong in what they do. And if they're wanting to protect something and you come into their space and you invade that, you'll feel the spirit kind of try and do something, try to push us out of that area. So I don't know if you guys have experienced that, but as long as you're respectful, that's not something that will happen as much. But it's kind of like, and offerings too are a really good way of communicating with spirits, because a lot of times we don't know what to say. We don't know what intentions to have when we're with the spirit, but offerings are a good way to kind of break the ice. So if you guys are wondering about spirit communication, that's a really good way. I can feel the vibrations of plants and trees. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's being able to communicate with something. And if we took that skill and we made it stronger, there's a lot more we can do with that too. So one of them, I had a person, I didn't like their energy that much, and so I'm not talking with them now, but they were able to touch a tree that was perfectly fine, healthy, and living. They were able to touch a tree, put in the thought that they wanted that tree to become firewood, and within 3 weeks that tree was dead. And they could do that consistently. They could walk up to any tree, and they would have the intention of, I would like you to become firewood, or I would like you to, and the tree would gladly do it, right? And that was something where I thought that was really interesting, to be able to kind of manipulate the life force of the tree to make something that would be beneficial to you, because I feel like that's how trees are. Trees just give and give and give. They produce fruit that they themselves cannot eat. So it's kind of like that's just what trees do. But when we're talking about feeling vibrations, stuff like that, there's a lot we can do with that if we know how to enhance it. And that's definitely more of a divine, like altering the physical world. That's the divine masculine energy. And some of us are going to be more able to do that than others. Like, we'll be more inclined and able to do that. Doesn't mean we can't do it, but we might have to try and practice just a little bit harder. But as long as our heart is open and our intentions are clear, then we can do some amazing things, but we have to kind of be in that mindset, if that makes sense. I feel like you guys know this already. I'm just kind of, you know, talking to be talking, right? But different, and that's okay. That I don't know how to do that either. I'm not saying I know how to do it. I just knew someone who could, um, and it's kind of a niche ability to have anyway, unless we're living out in the wilderness and we need the wood for the tree to make fires and stuff like that. I don't feel it's necessarily the most important skill. And that's the thing with a lot of the divine masculine skills, is that a lot of it is more about ego and showing off. Not that everyone does that, but a lot of it is more about that. It feels like, whereas subjective psychic things aren't, you can't nearly brag about them as much, but you do get your cocky psychics and mediums. But being able to feel the living things, being able to feel that, it's like feeling the earth's heartbeat, but it's through these projections that come up, trees, rocks, stone, just anything like that. I think it's awesome to be able to feel, and that's one of the coolest things, honestly. So let's see, some story time. Story time. I've been having these experiences lately where there is, and it's not meant to be scary, right? But there's constantly spirits kind of looking in to a room and seeing what I'm doing or trying to do stuff like that, and it's not like a scary thing, and it's not like I'm this big important person, because I'm not. I'm just a normal person. But there's definitely been more spirit activity lately, and I'm not necessarily sure why. The solar eclipse, there could have been something there, right? Hello, Universal Asad. Asad. How are you doing, my friend? Welcome to the channel. I burped in case you were wondering. That's what was happening there. But the spirits that are around, they've been throwing me off my game a little bit. It hasn't happened as much lately, but I've thought that my girlfriend was like peeking in on me, like watching me do something and just kind of being playful and cute. I get up, I walk out in the hall, and nothing there. In fact, she's downstairs, right? And that's happened, I can't tell you how many times. But there's definitely a lot more spirits going on, and a lot more animal spirits too that I've been seeing. So I think that's interesting. And then we have this, I call it the pink spirit. And we got it on camera a little bit, but it's harder for us to, it shows itself more as an orb, or more as like this kind of force. Anyway, but this pink spirit loves to make technology just crap out. It's not a negative spirit at all, but it does make technology act weirder than you would think is possible. Because we were having an experience where in it was like 2 days, 2 or 3 days, we had our garage door stopped working. We had, I'm trying to remember all the stuff that happened, but it was crazy. Garage door stopped working. Our cellular signals were like shot to hell. The Wi-Fi was acting like the Wi-Fi was resetting itself, and all this kind of stuff was happening. And every few months, the spirit comes in, and it kind of brings its own Mercury in retrograde kind of energy, where technology just acts very weird. It acts really weird. And then the weirdest one that this spirit will do, I'll be looking on my phone, I'll be scrolling through, and my phone will just start moving by itself, like someone's taking their finger and they're swiping stuff, and then it'll select things on the screen. So far, it hasn't been anything significant, though. It's not like, I found out the day I'm going to die from this spirit or anything like that. But when it comes in, it has that kind of presence, and then it leaves. And so far, this is like its third or fourth time coming back. But I find that to be kind of interesting. Like I said, I call it the pink spirit. Haven't been able to tell anything about it. Don't think it was ever human. I don't think it ever had a body. So disincarnate spirit. Yeah, I don't get a feeling. It's not bad or negative, but I don't get a gender. I don't get an age. I don't get anything from it, and it doesn't talk to me. So it's kind of doing its own thing, but not bad. Not a bad spirit. Just they can be mischievous at times. And then another weird one that was really strange. So they call this. Have you guys heard of an apport? I think it's Apport, and it's kind of when spirit can make things appear, but they can also make things disappear. So we were looking for my girlfriend's AirPods, right? She lost the case, and the AirPods were in the case, and she was trying to find them. Hey, Sapphire G, how are you doing? So she lost the case, and she was trying to find them, and we looked everywhere, and I mean everywhere. And we looked in her room. We looked in the room. We looked in the bathroom. We looked everywhere. We turned the house like upside down looking for these things because when we lose stuff, it drives us insane. It drives us nuts. After we looked through the whole house, and she was ready to give up on trying to find them, they were right there on her bed. They were right there in like the middle part of her bed, just right there. And I'm telling you, I'm thinking that was the pink spirit. That was something going on there because I mean it's funny in a way, but it's like annoying at the same time. So Sapphire G, what I do on this channel is I do $5 for 5 minutes, $10 for 10 minutes, but I generally try to get you answers within 5 minutes or less. So if you wanted to pay, you can do Super Chat, PayPal, or Cash App, but that's what I do on this channel. So I try to give you answers within 5 minutes. If that feels like something you'd want to do, we can try that. Um, or you can hear me talk about interesting kind of ghost stories, I guess you could say. But welcome to the channel, and how's your day been going, Sapphire? Oh yeah, I closed the lid. There we go. Hey, Sapphire, if you want, you can stay. Even if you don't have money, you can just join the conversation. I won't ask any personal questions, but you're more than welcome to stay here, even if you don't have any money, and just kind of join the community or ask spiritual questions if you want. I want to be a teacher, so if you guys have questions about spirituality or anything, I'll do my best to answer. Just not the personal questions; those ones cost money. But anything else, um, I'm free to discuss, answer, whatever. So, take another drink here. So Rada, yeah, that was an interesting story. Um, but an apport is where a spirit takes an item and they move it, right? They can kind of make something appear and disappear, and it's called an apport when they do that. And one of the ones that was really interesting, there was a spirit, and I think it was silver. Was it silver birch? There was a spirit that was connected to a medium, and when this medium would connect with this spirit, the way that this spirit would do, like some spirits have signature things that they do, right? But this spirit would give people items at the end of the session from the just out of the blue, right? There would be stuff that just lands on the table, like these, and these they were rare, like expensive items that landed on the table. And one person specifically said to this spirit, they said, "I would like a scarab beetle, an encrusted scarab beetle jewel from ancient Egyptian times." Okay, and the spirit made it happen. The spirit made it so that something like that did appear for the person, and they went like they had it in their hands, and they said, "I'm going to go see if this is legit or not." They go to a museum to like see if it's appraised or whatever, and the person almost got in trouble because that same scarab beetle had disappeared from a display. Not in that museum specifically, but it disappeared from a display, and people were looking for it, and she had it in her possession. Not a lot you can do to kind of get yourself out of that one. She was okay in the end because she just gave it back, but kind of be careful what you ask for because she got what she wanted, but it was not something that you couldn't really do anything with that. So I thought that was an interesting story. That's how some mediums work. Their spirits can come in and kind of do stuff like that because it's something where humans get to experience the physical, or spirits get to experience the physical world, and humans get to experience the spiritual world. And I feel like that's kind of why spirits hang around sometimes, is because there's an interaction. There's these two worlds colliding. If that makes any sense, guys. Hopefully that does. But yeah, so any questions or anything there? I just don't want to be monologuing the whole time. If you guys have anything to say, I'm ready. If not, though, that's okay too. Awesome, Chantel. Okay, yeah, the Egyptian gods. I believe there's a lot of power there. I believe there's a lot of power in all those kinds of things. Um, Still alive and do listen to petitions. They are alive on Egyptian sands. When you call them, they transport like telepathic or like holographic. I could see that. I could definitely see that. It is interesting, Rada. It's one of those things that as long as I've been doing this, there's always something new. So Chicano, hopefully I'm saying that right. This right here is just a cloth. It looks nice though, right? It's just a cloth that I put up on the wall. Thank you for saying that. I like it when you guys say that the background looks nice. We did try to make it look nice. So that means a lot. But welcome to the channel. I don't think I've seen you here before, my friend. Oh, hold on here. One of them that was interesting. So there's different forms of mediumship. And apparently there's sub-forms of different forms. And so it keeps going on and on and on. But one of the things that's interesting with mediumship is, so there's mental mediumship, which is what I'm trying to learn, like connecting with the spirit in a subjective way, and you're there, the spirit is speaking through you, but your consciousness is still there as a filter to give a message. Trance mediumship is where your consciousness goes kind of off to the side, and the spirit's consciousness comes in, and generally you take on the mannerisms of the spirit that is trying to do that kind of work with you. So there's no resistance for the spirit. The spirit comes into the body, not as a possession. That's Hollywood. No, it's as a form of cooperation, right? And the medium has to be extremely passive during this process. That's part of it. And then physical mediumship is to go even deeper than that. When we can, as mediums, when we can get into a state where we're completely relaxed and passive, and we can let spirit come in and make objective things happen, right? So spirit can come in and there can be ectoplasm, there can be these different forms of what's called physical mediumship, and it's generally pretty rare that people see that, or that there's a physical medium. Generally it takes years and years and years for someone to develop, and usually they start as a mental medium or a trance medium first, and then they go into physical mediumship. But then there was another form of mediumship that I learned about like a year ago. Oh, hold on, I'm going to read what Chantel says here. I know because I work very close with Anubis and he's my best friend. Yes, I've seen with my third eye his presence. So that is mediumship. It can be mediumship. If you're able to communicate with it, like have some form of communication, that's me. So mediumship is the ability to communicate with the spirit in a dynamic way. Psychic ability is I'm just reading the aura of a person. And generally speaking, psychic ability focuses on the past and the present that the person that we're looking at. Mediumship ability is connecting with spirit, and usually you can see into the future when you're doing that kind of stuff. When we're doing mediumship, it's more about seeing into the future, seeing what's going to happen, and focusing on that kind of stuff. But also, evidential mediumship is being able to tell someone that this spirit that's communicating with them, being able to communicate a message to a loved one that maybe won't make any sense to us, but makes a ton of sense to that person. So for instance, if I'm doing a mediumship reading and I'm saying, I feel like there's a man here, feels like an uncle, feels like they died at 55, I'm feeling dizziness before I died, so maybe I fell, and then, that turns out to be true. As we work on our mediumship ability and we can communicate with spirit, we're taking information and we're just translating it through ourselves if we're doing mental mediumship. So communicating with Anubis or communicating with these different kind of entities can happen. But when we're communicating with them, how does it feel, right? Psychic ability is, it kind of feels like it's just static in the background. There's nothing going on. Mediumship ability is very dynamic. It's very, very alive. I've communicated with spirits and they've made me feel more alive than I've ever felt. They charge my energy up. They charge up my body, right? And generally speaking, it comes through as like a feeling like my hairs all over the top half of my body are standing on end. It's like this static charged feeling. And then I'll get this rush of like bliss. That's for me. Some people have it where it's different. But for me, it's like that. And then sometimes I can cry. Sometimes there can be different things. It's not like I'm sad though. My eyes will just start to water. And then yawning. If we're connecting mediumistically, sometimes yawning is a way that we know we're connecting with spirit, but it's kind of annoying. I've had that a lot where I keep yawning over and over again. So, but primarily, we need to raise our vibration up and have the intention of connecting to the spirit world. And when we raise our vibration up through love, gratitude, or even just curiosity, when we're in that vibration, we raise that up, spirit can bring their vibration down because that's what they have to do. Spirit has to lower their vibration, become more physical in a way, and we have to raise our vibration up and become more spiritual. And when those two things meet in the middle, that's what's called like sitting in the power. We're focusing on communicating with spirit, right? We're focusing on building up the muscle of mediumship, so to speak. But it takes time, and you have to let go. That's the one thing that was hard for me starting out, was when a spirit comes around me, my muscles would tense up and I would get very, very like this is it. I would get too excited, my muscles would tense up, and then I would lose the connection because I'm trying to force something to happen. When spirit's trying to communicate with us, we have to let go. Otherwise, the message that we're going to get is going to be contrived, and there's going to be us in the message. There's going to be our own interference in the message because we're forcing a message to come through and it's not true. So we have to be as relaxed as possible, and we have to look at it in a non-biased way so that we can get information. All of that takes time. All of that takes practice. But what's interesting was I've done classes with people, not as a teacher, as a student. And I've done classes with people, and some of the readings that I got from the students in there that had never done mediumship or anything like that before were better than readings I've gotten from mediums that were established. And so it just goes to show you that it's really in the eye of the beholder how good or bad or whatever we are at mediumship. But it's about listening to that process and strengthening the different clair abilities as well. So clair audience is hearing, clair alliance is smelling, clairgustance is taste, clairvoyance is sight, and you have clair empathy, which is feeling someone else's feelings, and then clair tangency, which is actually feeling something like in your hand, or like feeling like imagine you're feeling something on the tip of your fingers. It feels like wood or it feels like metal, and you're like feeling something on your body somewhere. That would be clairtangency. When we build up those abilities, then we can start to communicate to the spirit world in a way that's more organic because they have more ways to speak to us because our faculties are open to communication. Imagine if a spirit wanted to communicate with us, but the only way we could receive communication was clairvoyance, and that was it. That limits us so much on how we can speak to other people about the messages that we're getting because the spirit can only communicate to us in a clairvoyant way. We have to open ourselves up to the possibility of communicating using the other forms of communication. Like I just said, the other clair abilities. And I teach that a little bit because developing those abilities isn't super difficult to do. It's not a hard thing to do, but it's something you do have to focus on. There has to be something there. So, yeah. Does that make sense, guys, what I'm saying? Kind of went off on a tangent there. This is my passion. I love this stuff. I've had obsessive episodes with it, so I know quite a bit about this kind of topic. A never-ending coffee. But it's definitely a sharing of energy with this, and it takes time to understand it. For instance, sometimes I'll get messages, and this is still new to me, but I'll get messages for people that are like, my eyes are open, I'm looking at the screen, or I'm looking at the person, and I can see something clairvoyantly, but my eyes are open. And that, to me, that's still something I'm getting used to, is that I don't have to close my eyes sometimes, and stuff can come in. And then, okay, there's another clair too, claircognizance, which is instant knowing. Like, without a shadow of a doubt, you know. And no one can convince you otherwise. Okay, that's instant knowing, that's called claircognizance. And supposedly, that's a fairly new tool to the psychic realm. Um, I heard one person talk about it, she's older, and she was talking and saying claircognizance didn't exist like it does now. It didn't exist in her day and age like it does now. And so, to me, that's interesting. I feel like psychically humans are evolving, or spiritually humans are evolving in that way, and I think it comes through in these psychic abilities, right? Um, so hopefully that's making sense to you guys. And does anyone have if you guys would like, we can do a question. Or you can always remember to like and subscribe. That definitely helps out a ton. But as long as we're earnest, or we're honest with the connection that we want to have with the spirit world, I don't think there's anything wrong there. But if we feel like there's still... Yeah, she does. She does believe. I'll try and talk to her and see if she wants to come on. She's a little shy, and so... But I can talk to her, Rada, and see if that's something that she might want to do, and we could maybe do some stuff together. Me and her were thinking of doing like a podcast together and doing some different stuff, but that's still in the works. I've got a bunch of ideas for this channel. I want to do ghost and spirit investigations, where we go on site and we like look around and intuitively pick up on things, learn about the history of whatever it is we're trying to learn, and see what we can record. Because there's a lot of spirits, or there's a lot of spiritual things out there that I think we would be a good match for. No, I understand, Rada. No pressure. You're just suggesting something. I'm not going to look at that and start sweating and be like, what? No, you're good. Don't worry about that at all. I'll talk to her. Maybe if this channel gets a little more established, we can start doing some of the bigger stuff that I'm talking about. But I am wanting to do investigations and wanting to put ourselves out there. Yes, that's what I'm wanting to do, and so hopefully we can do that. I'm thinking next year sometime. I'm looking at selling a bunch of my stuff to get some new equipment, and so hopefully that can turn into something. But yeah, so another drink here. There we go. But yeah, so I think that'll be good. I think that's going to be something exciting, and she'll come on here, I'm sure, and we'll see what's going on. We'll see what's going on with that. I'll talk to her, and yeah, we used to do. We did it before. I think we've done sessions before together on my channel. You could go back and look. Okay, Chantel says, when it happens, it's alive, and I've seen exact image appear in height. I'm clear, so Anubis sees that also, and he enjoys appearing. Then he does go. Evil forces don't mess. They know I don't play. Okay, perfect. Perfect. So that's mediumship to an extent. That is. It sounds like there's communication. It sounds like you're the one, like, eventually, if you get comfortable with these deities or these gods, you can communicate more directly. A lot of times, though, gods communicate through riddles and rhymes. Okay, this is gonna sound like the most nerdy thing. Gods and dragons communicate through riddles and rhymes. That's generally how they talk. It's not a straightforward thing, and dragons rarely communicate. Um, they're more in the background. Certain entities are very, very talkative. Usually, gods are not, depending on the god, of course. But I would assume Anubis is more of a you feel my presence, you see me kind of a thing. Maybe not as much of a talker or communicator, but maybe I'm wrong with that. Um, I define a line, boundaries. I get respected from Shadow Realm and Darker Realm, and I respect mutually as also as Heavenly Realm and all realms. That's good. That's good that you're working in all capacities because that's how humans are. Yeah, Dragon Realm's more. They're more quiet. They're more quiet. There's and dragons can be light or dark. Different entities can be light or dark. Gods, especially though, gods are different because they're not. Gods are kind of defined a certain way, and they're not necessarily going to change from that way of being, but they represent archetypes, and they represent strong archetypes. You are right on that. I talk and he sends the energy of emotion. Yeah, so that to me would make sense. I feel like so there's been people that summon. There's been people that can talk to these different entities, disincarnate spirits, basically spirits that have never had bodies, stuff like that. And when people are talking to those spirits, it's very much like it's very much like when we're first starting out or when we're getting into that world, they are going to be more quiet. And then eventually when they talk, like right now, Chantel, you're experiencing a feeling of emotion. If you work with Anubis more and you build up that relationship more, I feel like eventually there's going to be talking with you guys, like a communication, but I do feel like it's going to be in riddles and rhymes. They tend to want us to find the answers ourselves. I mean, they're gods after all. They know what's going on. They're very psychic, and I feel like they have to communicate in riddles and rhymes so that we find the answer ourselves. I feel like there's a certain level they can't overstep, if that makes sense. Like, they understand things in a more omniscient way, so that's kind of what I would feel there. That's cool though. Haven't worked with a ton of gods. No, I don't think I have. But I do know how they prefer to communicate, and generally it's a little more standoffish at first, and then it can be emotions, and then when you fully let yourself become attuned or adjusted to their energy, they can start communicating more. But it's like we have to, it's almost like we have to bathe in their energetic essence in order for them to come closer to us. And the only way we can do that is like offerings, trying to get them to be closer with us through bonding. Talking with them is actually a good way too, because communication with these kinds of spirits is absolutely important, and it keeps opening the door over and over again to deeper and deeper levels of communication. So as long as that's open, things can go well. Things can move along. But yeah, hopefully, Chantel. Again, haven't had a ton of experience with this. I've read a lot. Um, I have certain I have certain spirits that I work with, and I know how some of them operate. So that's kind of what I'm going with. Right. Talk with pure meaning and pure heart. And that's another thing too. If you guys are watching this, um, if we're talking about gods, or we're talking about dragons, or we're talking about these different kinds of beings, you need to be very clear. You need to be very clear when we talk to these kinds of things, because these entities have power, and if we have an impure heart or an impure way of viewing things, they will know. And sometimes they can be capricious. They can be very um, not unnecessarily wrathful, but you got to be respectful. When we're talking about this, you have to be very respectful, and you have to be very mindful what you say. And sometimes, depending on how close you are with a god or dragon or whatever, you even have to be careful what scents you wear, like what you smell like. So depending on that, it's kind of interesting. It's an interesting topic. Um, yeah. I'm glad you find this interesting, Rada. This is another one of my favorite topics. I've been into spirits and stuff like this since before I ever started doing tarot, and a lot of the spirits are secretive, especially at first. And generally speaking, when you have a spirit and you're talking with them, they're going to give you a fake name at first. Gods are different. Gods are different. But if we're talking about other spirits, usually they give you a fake name at first because if you have their real name, you can bind them and you can do certain things. But they give you a fake name or like an alias, and then when they fully trust you, you can actually learn their real name and you can work with them in that way. But it's kind of like when we're opening ourselves up psychically to this realm, spirit in a way is doing the same thing. They're thinking, how do I communicate? What do I do? Because they may have a lot of knowledge we don't have, but when it comes to communicating with us and working with us, they don't know how we're going to work yet. They have to get used to us too. So it's not like they instantly know everything. Again, there are circumstances where that's not the case, but when we're working with these lesser known spirits, generally speaking, they're working with us for the first time. We're working with them, and that's going to be something where cooperation is going to be key, and you're not going to get communication at first. You generally, more than likely, you're going to get, okay, it'll feel like you're talking to nothing at first. It'll feel like nothing's there when you're talking. Then when you're talking, you can feel like there's a presence. You'll possibly feel like there's a presence standing next to you, or there's something in the room. It feels like something's listening or watching. Then you can start to feel more and more of that presence and more of that energy to the point where it's unmistakable. Okay? But at first it's like trying to hear a whisper in a thunderstorm. Like a really loud thunderstorm. It's really hard to hear that whisper at first. But then eventually the whisper becomes the thunder. Eventually you're able to feel a presence and it's like, holy hell, this is strong. And that's what I'm talking about. Depending on the spirit, there can be a lot of power that they can share and insights that they can share as well. But I do feel there has to be that barrier where there's riddles, like we have to solve something, which can be kind of maddening in a way because it's like, how do I know if I'm answering it right? But for them, the most important thing that matters is that we listen and we try with them. It's not about getting things right or doing that. They understand we're human and we're prone to folly and error. And so I think it's more about connection. It's more about having something open like that. And communication between the two parties is going to make it so much better. And like Chantel was saying, so she was talking about boundaries, setting boundaries with spirits. You 100% need to do that. If you're working with these kinds of forces, um, you have to say what you will and won't tolerate, and you can't waver. You cannot waver on that. You can't let it slip because those boundaries, that's like the magical wall that's protecting you from the influence of these other spirits. And so when we set boundaries, when we set these firm um, kind of rules, and then spirits come forward and they comply to those rules, then we know that they're going to be there and that they're going to do good for us. They're going to help us in some way. But when we haven't set any boundaries, when we haven't set any intention on what it is we want to work with these spirits, things can get kind of hectic, right? Um, I've had to deal with that a few times, and that's never a fun experience. It That's never a fun experience. So you want to make sure you set rules, you set boundaries. Um, yeah. Remember to like and subscribe, guys, if you wouldn't mind. I would appreciate it. And $5 for 5-minute questions. Okay, if you guys want to do that, we can do that. And we can go further than that if you guys want to. But I can usually answer your question in 5 minutes, so you guys let me know. But yeah, generally speaking, it's all about the presence of openness when we're talking about something. And something that can happen with spirits as well that's hard for us is taking their word for it. If a spirit tells us something and it's a hard truth for us to hear and we don't want to believe it and we become resistant, that can be something that's hard to deal with too, because generally spirits, they usually speak the truth on what's going on, and sometimes it's not exactly what we want to hear. So when you're opening up to the spirit world, you're opening up to a life that's going to be more physically lonely, but more psychically enjoyed, if that makes sense. Because that's kind of the presence that we're talking about here. And it's the occult, it's supposed to be secret, so a lot of people tend to keep to themselves when they're doing stuff like this. So yeah, it's definitely something like that. Any questions about this? These wouldn't cost anything. This would just be us talking. But if there's any questions or anything you guys want to add to what I've said, or anything like that, I'm open for it. I like the conversation. Sippy sip. I gotta see how much coffee's in here. I mean, I've been drinking this for a minute. Okay. We're almost to the last big boy sip here, so thinking I'm just gonna go for it. Wish me luck, guys. If I don't come back, you'll know. I wanted to share because you mentioned the scarabs. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I can see that. But regardless, I appreciate you sharing, regardless, because I think that's really cool. I like that there's different points of view on different topics. So that's good too. Like, that's something that people feel like an Egyptian relics. It never dies. No, energy stays. Energy definitely stays. It cannot be created or destroyed, and so whatever energy is put on an object, I do believe it stays around. And Radha says, I don't have the ability to see spirits, but I can feel entities. So that's something that's really interesting. If you can feel entities, if you can feel that, that's awesome. A lot of people think the Holy Grail is being able to see something with your third eye or being able to do that. I don't think so. There's a lot of pressure for people to have clairvoyance over anything else. I think that's kind of bullshit, right? I think any way that you can communicate with your spirit body, your spiritual body, your psychic senses, that's valid. And if we sit there and we think, oh, I can't do this or I can't do that, and I'm not saying you're saying this, Radha, but if you can feel, that's awesome. That generally means that you can also understand your own emotions pretty well and also the emotions of others. So generally empathy would be something that you would have high amounts of. If you're able to feel spirits, that's usually the case. And spirits can have us feel in so many different ways, and I think that's a huge one to have on your team. For me, yeah. All right. Good Lord. You gotta go sippy on that. Oh, shoot. It's got a nice sound to it. Okay. My advice on research, Radha and Chantel, please feel free to step in here at any point. But my thing with research is study it from like 3 or 4 different sources, and then if you're studying it and you're noticing commonalities between all of these practices, then we can further dive into how to develop in the correct way. But also, you can go with authors that are already established in this field. You can do that kind of stuff too. That's definitely really helpful. But you can research it. You can research it, but being in it is going to give you the results more than anything. And practicing, whatever that looks like, that's going to open up the gateways. As long as you're trying something, that opens up the psychic ability of being like, I'm trying something, and spirits like it when we put in effort, okay? It's like being in a good relationship. If both of you are putting in effort, there's a good communication, there's a good relationship. But if you're not putting in the effort and you're expecting spirit to talk or communicate with you, it's not going to happen. It can't be one-sided in this kind of connection. But practice does definitely help in this. Okay. Alright, so if you guys would not mind, please like and subscribe the video. And if you already have, thank you guys so much. But yeah. He could show you his pendulum if he finds it right. But buying a pendulum mat that has yes, no, should help you and connect to your pendulum and speak. Say, I am ready to feel spirits and open to see. That's a good, that's really good advice. But be ready. Be ready for whatever happens. It's not going to be negative, but it can be powerful. And so if we open ourselves up, be ready for that kind of powerful presence to possibly present itself. And just be open. Just be open to it. But primarily, like I said, set boundaries before we start spirit communication, what you will and won't tolerate, stuff like that. That's going to help you more than anything. But what Chantel says is absolutely true. Definitely, if we're working with spirit with the pendulum, yes or no, have that be something where you're open to an answer of any kind. You're open to just kind of communication. And when something starts happening and you start feeling this energetic flow, because generally when spirit's communicating with you, the hand that you're holding the pendulum in, or sometimes the crown of your head, will start to tingle or buzz. It feels like static electricity. And you'll feel this sense of energy. And sometimes when you're moving when you're holding the pendulum still and the pendulum starts to move, you can feel like a magnetic force moving that pendulum, and that's generally spirit coming in and starting to kind of persuade that in a certain direction. And when you start feeling that energy that feels alive, relax yourself as much as possible and let whatever's going to happen happen. If we resist and we again tense our muscles or we do something like that, we're going to be missing that communication. You're welcome, Radha. You're very, very welcome. And Chantel, thank you so much for helping out with that question too. It's a lot when we're talking about this kind of stuff. It's a lot to learn, but it's also fascinating, right? It's also something that's really interesting. Okay, so let's do this here. I'm going to be shuffling. I'm actually going to use these cards. I'm going to try and break these ones in more, so I'll show you these again. Radha likes these cards. I like them too. The True Black Tarot. These are really cool cards. So let's look at these cards here. Okay. Just going to get them all out here. It's a little louder than I needed it to be, but yeah. Okay, let's move these over. Okay, so True Black Tarot right here. Very, very nice deck. If you guys can look at those, these cards are thick AF, as the youth says. I know, right? These are very beautiful. This one here is really cool too. This is the Moon card. I just love the artwork. Honestly, it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. This one is the Page of... This one's the Page of Cups. Very beautiful cards. Very fun to look at. Very kind of like... what would you call it? Like whimsical energy is what I feel from these cards. They're very nice. So let's do this. Let's shuffle and let's look at these cards here. Okay. Oh. There we go. Very, very difficult to shuffle these cards. If you guys see me kind of getting lazy with it, if I take these cards right here, and I try and shuffle them, okay? I mean, look at that. I can't even bend them. They're very difficult to shuffle, versus like these ones here. Same amount of cards in this deck, okay? I try and shuffle these ones. You see, I can shuffle those. That will just give you some context on how thick the cards are. Okay, so let's do this. Let's pick some cards here. Queen of Cups and the Magician. Okay, so the Magician I actually have framed in my room because that's my card. You take my birthday, 2 and 8, you add those together. In numerology, it adds to 1. And so the Magician is my card that I resonate with. So I can show you that. And then you said the 2 of Cups? The Queen of Cups. Okay, let me look for that one specifically. Not quite there. Let's keep looking. Nope, nothing there. Takes me just a second, guys, so give me a minute here. This one's cool, though. Look at the Empress. Very pretty card. I just love the artwork. I'm going to say that over and over again. You guys are going to get sick of me saying it. Okay. Give me just 1 second, guys. All right. I feel like I'm actually getting further away the more cards that I look at, so this is fun. Oh, you liked that one, Rada? Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so Fool. Okay, there's the Magician. Okay. Yeah, so they're what do you call it? Embossed? Like the whole thing of the cards. There's actually texture on the back and on the front of the cards. There's texture. Well, on this one there isn't, but on some of them there is. I'll show you the Death card too. But this is the Magician. He's doing the as above, so below. The Magician has a lot of like Baphomet vibes, right? Representing the duality of, well, everything. But the Magician is about manifestation energy. Having things happen. I have this one framed in my room. The person you can buy these cards from also sells them as artwork that you can buy. Beautiful cards. Again, I will never... Oh, that's funny. There's the Death card right there. Very beautiful. I love the red against the black. I mean, it just looks nice. And the camera that I'm using now does not do it justice how these cards look in person. They are a treat. Here we go. Here's the Queen of Cups. Very beautiful. Definitely representing that yin-yang energy and flowing with that emotional, that kind of ultimate emotional truth, right? The Queen of Cups. Very beautiful. Then this one. I like this one a lot. This one's the Devil. And you can see the, like the stuff glowing there. Here we go. Favorite card, and I've said this for the longest time. I would even get this as a tattoo, you know. I like it that much. I like it that much. This card here, this one is Temperance. And you can see the yin-yang symbol in the background. But you can also see the red too, which is interesting. Very, very pretty. It's hard to see all the features, but I want to collect more decks, like not like this, but decks that are very just interesting to look at when there's so much. Here's the Emperor. And you can see that in the background, the way the card looks. Pretty cool stuff, honestly. And then the Sun card. Very, very fun cards. I really like them, obviously. But let's look at what energies we have going on around us, for those of you that are tuning in here. Yeah, absolutely, the yin-yang energy. Cups are all about, well, they're all about flow. I mean, it's emotional, generally. The cups represent water. Oh, that's really weird. Right at the very bottom of the deck, there's the Lover's card. I like that one too. The Lover's card is one of my favorites as well. I mean, I just like the red. I don't know what that is. The red, the black, and the white. I really like that. I also like white and pink together too. Those colors are very beautiful when they're together. Yeah, I'm a sucker for that stuff. So let's look at this. Energies around us for... well, just general energies. What do we need to know that's around us? It's sexy, the Lover's card. Yes, yes it is. It's a very, it feels like an intimate card, right? It definitely has that. Probably tuning into the vibration of the card more so, and that's something you can do when we develop new ways of seeing without the eyes. We can develop ways that we can dive into pictures, paintings, portraits, photographs, and you can do that by holding something, or you can do that by looking at something. When you're holding it, that's psychometry. When we can feel the energy from something and we can translate that, that's called psychometry, and it's being able to understand the history of physical objects that we're picking up on. And that's a psychic ability that we can develop as well. So like imagine, for instance, if I passed away, right? If I died in some way, if my girlfriend took my glasses to a medium, the medium would be able to pick up more if they were like holding my glasses. I wear these all the time, so my energy is kind of imbued in these. So that's kind of what I'm talking about here. The aspect of the death card is true on color. I've experienced death, seeing it, and it's not black like people are fooled, thinking that's the color. The color has hues of light gray with some purple white. Thank you, Rada. I try. I try to be as informed as I can, but Chantel, I can understand that too, and that's... Yeah, death doesn't mean what people think it means. Death is like the curtain. Death is the curtain that happens on the final act of life, but it's not the end. It's kind of like, yeah. It's tall, past 7 feet or that height. And that's an interesting concept too. And sometimes spirits can come to us in different ways. Sometimes it can be preconceived biases, but sometimes we can actually be seeing the true form of it. But I think spirit presents itself in different ways. But that's cool that you saw death is like 7 feet tall or so. But if it wanted to, I'm sure it could make itself 50 feet tall, or it could make itself 3 inches high, you know? Death that's 3 inches high, that's cute. That's a cute thing. I might need to steal that and then copyright it, but that would be adorable. Okay, so let's look at the energy that's around us. Be doing this here. We have our little alley girl in here. She's our dog that we have. And she's cute too. I'll show you guys, if she comes up to me, I'll show you guys her. I can actually lift her up. She doesn't try to get away. Allie, come here. Come here. Allie, come here. There we go. All right. This is Allie. What do you guys think of that? She's a cute dog. She is a Shih Tzu Yorkie mix. Okay? A lot like me. I'm a shit something mix. I can't remember. Oh, I'll let you down. She gets fussy around this time because she's going to be receiving a TREAT soon. She's all about that. Hey, Blossom. Thank you for coming by the channel. I do $5 for 5 minutes. I try to get your answer in 5 minutes. If I can't, we can go on longer, a little bit longer, but That's what I'm trying to do right now. So if that feels like something you want to do, we can do that. Okay, Rada says, years ago... Oh, hold on. Okay, Chantel says, I had some surgery and witnessed a while out of surgery. My blood pressure fell very low and it presented itself watching. But I was here, still to continue. That's cool. That's really cool. So you're feeling like the presence or the archetype or the symbolic nature of death, right? And I'm feeling some energy right now as I'm talking about it. Fingers, index fingers starting to feel a little vibraty. Um, so water saved me with ice. Still to continue. Water saved. Okay, okay. And then we got Rada here. Years ago, I had a near-death experience, and ever since I started to feel things, vibrations on inanimate objects. And that can happen. I honestly feel what happens when we have a near-death experience, it kind of catapults us so far out of body that our vibration just shifts. It automatically kind of becomes higher for the rest of our lives. If we're open to experiences, it will just become much higher in nature because we've experienced something there. Did you after you had this near death experience, did you see anything, Rada, or did you feel anything in the near death experience? Because Chantel, it sounds like you had, you had an experience, obviously, um, had an out of body experience. Both of those are interesting. Out of body versus near death. Um, I have some theories on those. They're not necessarily my own. I've read them and they make sense to me. But um, yeah, hold on. Okie dokie here. You saw and felt your soul separate. So I imagine that would feel pretty unusual. Yeah, yeah, and that a lot of people report that. A lot of people report that sense of joy and peace, like like you're finally coming home, or like you're in it. You felt light. Awesome, awesome, and that I've heard people talk about this before. Felt light as a feather. Hmm. I like that. I like that. And I've heard people describe it as feeling like they're home or feeling like they're united with something again. Like you said, a feeling of peace and joy, but it's like kind of it's almost ecstatic, right? It's almost like jubilation or bliss kind of energy. It's very strong emotion. So it's like if you were in a physical body, you would have been crying, kind of a feeling. Hey, Anu Dulgus. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Welcome to the channel. How is your day going so far? I can see what you're typing, Anu. I technically can't hear any of you, but I can see you guys. Or I can look at words and relate them to your profile pictures. That's what I'm doing here. I'm here, Anu. I'm right here. Anu Dulgus. Anu Dulgus. I don't know how to say your name, but I can see what you're typing. Okay, so that's awesome, Rada, that you had that experience. I can only imagine that and since then, right, you've been able to feel things, you've been able to be in that. It's kind of like you're in a different vibration now. A lot of people describe a near death experience as like after you've had one, it's like trying to go back and fit into a size pair shoe when you're a size 12. It sort of metamorphosizes, it changes the person. Generally, it's forever, right? And a lot of things after a near-death experience can kind of come crumbling down, which it seems like it's bad, but it's not. It's like the Tower card. It's showing you the truth of reality instead of trying to hide something from you. So near-death experiences are interesting. I I had mine when I was younger. I almost died several times when I was little. Don't remember anything though. Um, but I was a very sick kid. I had a lot of different things going on, but yeah, I don't remember anything from those experiences because I was so young. I was like 1 or 2, so I don't remember anything. Um, Maybe as I get older, though, that shadow will reveal itself to me because I think there's a lot of trauma there um, that has not been dealt with quite yet. So, and it's like surgical trauma, things like that. Doctors still give me the heebie-jeebies. Um, but yeah, so that's always fun to think of, isn't it? But you said, Rada, you said exactly to what I was saying here. So hopefully that wasn't, I mean, in the midst of it, it can probably feel catastrophic, but hopefully that was something that eventually turned out to feel better in the long run because a near death experience sort of forces our truth to come out. Even if it's something we've been trying to hide from people, even if it's something we've been trying to, it sort of forces us to embrace the now moment, and I feel like we become more bold after a near-death experience because we've experienced what it was like to nearly die, and so we feel like, what's the worst that can happen, right? I feel like that can happen. That can inspire people and help them be more courageous in their decisions. I'm gonna look at something real quick, guys. So give me 1 second here. So, and this is off topic. This is off topic, but Chantel and Rada, if you're still there, um, Chantel, if you're still there, I know Rada's still there, but um, do you guys watch? Like I said, it's off topic, but do you guys watch YouTube for entertainment or is it like relaxation? I'm curious, like the viewing habits here, because I watch YouTube for information. I guess would be how I would watch it. It can be entertainment too. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just curious. I'm just curious how you guys kind of interact with the YouTube platform. And there's no wrong answers. No wrong answers there. I'm just curious because you watch YouTube to learn. Okay, okay, so that makes sense. So you watch it for more of an information standpoint. Because as I'm doing this, I feel like part of me has to be a tarot reader, and part of me has to be an entertainer, in a way, kind of like a jack of all trades, I suppose. But I generally watch to learn stuff too. I'm more into like the tech stuff on YouTube and watching that kind of stuff, but definitely into like learning different things that way. And honestly speaking, I think YouTube is becoming a platform where people are getting their news from it instead of from big organizations like CNN or uh, CNN, right? I don't know any other NBC. I don't know. But I feel like people are coming to YouTube more to learn things, and so yeah, I find it interesting. I haven't watched a traditional news station in years and years. I mean, I don't watch TV. I just watch YouTube primarily. So nothing wrong with watching TV. That's just how I am. With YouTube platform, I plan to join and do ASMR focusing on eating sushi and desserts. I watch YouTube to entertain myself, so it's more for me like seeing new tech drops, demos, fashion, advice. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. That's cool. And the ASMR community right now is definitely definitely blowing up. I remember when that was first starting out. It's a good thing to try to do. ASMR is one of those things that can be very, very soothing. That can be immensely soothing for people, and I think if you feel like you can do that, just don't let other people and what they think get you down in any way, because if someone comes, a lot of people, when they're talking about starting something like that, or anything, when they're talking about starting anything, they worry about judgment that other people can have. But understand that those people, the only way that they can judge you is if they themselves, if they judge themselves and they're harsh with themselves, and so that's just them projecting. It's not actually, you know. ASMR is auditory something, something, something. I can't remember, but it's like relaxation noises, like she's talking about sushi, eating sushi, sounds of chewing, sounds of like things being crinkled. Um, how would you describe it? It's just relaxation primarily. It's something that helps people relax. Um, it can be soft whispers. Okay, so um, I enjoy listening to crystal sound bowls, so YouTube for music and subliminals for yellow eyes. Okay, so I can understand that. We're using YouTube as a platform for like exploration as well. So I like that too. Did not have this when I was growing up, so I'm learning as much as you guys are about the internet every day. Okay, so you understand, Rada, what she means when she says, because it's that kind of just helping people to relax and unwind. It's kind of like, I don't really know how to describe it other than it's comforting, it's relaxing. It's like all the things that you would think like, um, you know, for me, one of my favorite sounds. It has to be happening to me directly, but it's like cutting hair, right? My mom was a hairstylist growing up, and so when she would cut my hair, I kind of relate that to us bonding, and so I like the sound of cutting hair. The way the scissors go, shh, 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 that kind of sound. Um, okay, so you do understand, yeah. But yeah, that's something that I think is really neat. And then you get what's called the tingles, is what people like, where their skin sort of tingles a little bit, and you feel this sense of, kind of like excitement, but it's like lowered excitement. It's like allowing you to just feel deeper and deeper relaxed. Yeah, absolutely. Let us know when you get your channel. It takes, I mean, pardon the expression. Women have these too, but it takes balls. It takes balls to start a channel. But women can have those too. It's definitely something that if you're courageous enough to do it, just don't let anyone stop you. You just go for it. You know. It was difficult when I started, like 4 or 5 years ago. But it's not something I've regretted. I've I've learned a lot on the way, and as long as you're open to learning new things, you can start a YouTube channel. Well, maybe Rada, you're not that courageous yet. You know, it could be something in the future where you could be expressing yourself in some way, right? So maybe we're not courageous enough yet. Maybe there's an and or a but at the end of that sentence. Because that's what I feel from you. I feel a sense from you, Rada, where it's like latent potential. There's a lot of stuff in you that I feel like you would want to do, but I feel like you're waiting for something maybe. If I'm wrong with that, I'm wrong, but it does feel like there's that kind of energy. Um, and maybe there's some fear of being vulnerable and open to criticism too, that would kind of send you over the edge, like be like, oh, I don't like this, I don't like this. But I do sense that you have a very kind heart and a very kind spirit. So I feel like the kind people of the world, if they could, put themselves out there, it would beat all of the hateful things. It would help. It would help to sort of get things in line, so to speak. But I believe you have the potential there. with this, so what I feel from you, Radha, is there's this sense of curiosity. There's this kind of thirst for life in a way, and for creative expression, and for just looking at things in kind of a new way. But whenever we find something that we really enjoy, I don't know if you do this or not, but I feel like there's this tendency. Hold on. So Chantel says, yes, I'm going to focus on ASMR, but I might do other foods from different places, but not heavy things. I want to focus on Asian foods and desserts. I hope to do fashion vlogs too, like unboxing future. Okay, that's cool too. Stuff like lifestyle vlogs, doing things like that. That does really well too. It just depends on, I lifestyle channels do very well. But I was gonna say, Radha, there's. Oh, thank you for whoever liked the video. I appreciate that. There's a raw sense of expression that wants to come out of you, and as soon as you feel like you can do that, I would advise you to do that, because I'm getting a feeling of sometimes we get so excited, or we have this immense sense of creative expression, that we're not able to wind down. And I feel like if we put that into some endeavors in some areas, it'll help ease our anxiety, possibly insomnia too. Because it's like we get too excited about life, but then we can't shut it off, which isn't a bad thing, but it can be maddening. It can be maddening. That's kind of what I'm feeling. And I see the I see the tarantula with you as well. It's not a bad thing. When I see a tarantula or a spider, if I see it in person, stay the hell away from me. But if I see it psychically, it's a good thing. I figured, Radha, but thank you for confirming. I appreciate that. You donate a lot to the channel, and you're a member now on this channel, and you were on Patreon too. I don't give you readings though. You pay for other people's readings, but I think I've only read for you a couple times. Hopefully me doing this isn't invasive of your energy, Radha. Hopefully that's not something you're feeling like I'm invading your space. If you do feel that way, I would not take offense to it, because I kind of just started doing a reading. I'm just doing something really quick here, guys. Okay. So, the tarantula is an interesting symbol, because the tarantula is not like the spider, right? The tarantula is, it's a bigger, it's a more burly kind of energy, but it's not necessarily something that creates webs in hopes that something comes into it. A tarantula is more like a ground hunter, right? Very interesting kind of creatures. And I think of, when I think of the ground hunter spiders, I go to, and you guys can look this up because this is fascinating. This spider is really interesting looking. Look up the truncated spider. Okay, truncated spider. It has a symbol on its butt. And it's interesting how this thing works, how the truncated spider works. But take a look at that. Interesting stuff. But anyway, so when I see the spider, the tarantula, that to me would represent because I view tarantulas mainly as calm. Like, I feel like some spiders can be more fidgety and gross and creepy, but tarantulas not so much. I feel like tarantulas are more calm and more chill, you know. Okay, so let me see what else we can get here. So, okay, so sorry guys, I'm trying to get this going here. I have no idea how to spell tarantula. I'm pretty sure I spelled Terratalora. Help me. I don't know what it means, but anyway. Grounded tarantula was what I was trying to write. Awesome, Rada. I'm glad. I'm glad that was something that was helpful. That's what I try to do on the channel. I want to give that kind of energy if I can, right? And it gives my guides something to do. When I come on here, it gives them a way they can interact with people. So I'm glad that was helpful. And like I said, you've supported the channel. You've been there since I started doing this back again. Hey, Petunia, how are you doing? Petunia Bernard, how are you doing? But the yes, Petunia, I am doing readings. I do ask though. I do $5 for 5 minutes, or $10 for 10 minutes on the readings. If that feels like something you can do, we can absolutely do that. I try to give you your answer in 5 minutes or less. Right now, there's no one in line, and so if you wanted to do that, I'll try and give you an answer. I'm trying not to waste anyone's time here, so if you want to do that, we absolutely can. You can do Super Chat or PayPal or Cashapp or Super App or PayChat or, you know, there's options. And please, guys, remember to like and subscribe again. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. Ian Hendricks, how are you doing? I've got to plug in my other stuff here. Hold on, my camera here's about to die, so I gotta plug it in. I've actually got to go and get the plug. Be good, guys. I'm coming right back. Awesome, Ian. Okay. Thank you, my friend. Let me get this going, you guys. I'll let you know when the 5 minutes starts. I'm not going to do it right now because that's not fair to you guys. So, thank you, Ian. Let's do this here. Let me move my stuff. Okay. So we've had... Oh, wait. Okay. Let me shuffle the cards, Ian. Would you want to ask your question? Actually, not going to use these cards. These are very thick. There we go. I'll shuffle some cards here. Hey, thank you. Thank you, Ian. I appreciate you for doing that. Oh. Okay. You go ahead. I'm going to be shuffling the cards, my friend. Think of your question. And see what we can come up with, I think. See what we can come up with here. Here we go. So much easier to shuffle. So much easier to shuffle these cards. Okay, so Ian says, oh, okay, so I'm going to do this. Time has not started yet. I'm going to do this, though. So, I'm going to read for Ian, and then Petunia's up next here. Thank you so much, Petunia, for the contribution. I appreciate that very, very much. Let me open up my notes here, and then we're going to do this. So, awesome, you give me the hang loose sign. I love that. Boop, boop, boop. I can never use this in any scenario without looking like a total nerd. But in this scenario, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Thank you again. Okay, so Ian, you're on here. Yeah, you guys are awesome. You guys are so awesome. Okay. I just want to keep you guys in here so that you're on the list, so I don't forget. I can use it to say right on. Yeah, but you would be surprised at how awkward I am with saying things like right on or cool dude or hey bro. It's not good. I'm very awkward socially and in other ways, just to let you know. All right, so let's look in at what's going on here. All right, so you guys basically think of me like a pizza restaurant. However, in this case, my special sauce comes from source. And also, 5 minutes or less, I'll give you an answer, okay? So let's see what we can do here. I'm going to start the timer after I shuffle the cards for Ian's question, because I'm not going to be shuffling while I'm taking your time. That does not seem right to me. Okay. Let's see what we got going for Ian. So, I'm going to read this question again from the Ian Meister here. Stuck at the moment and don't know which way to go in career and in general. Will all work out good for me, please? Okay, let's see what we can do here. I'm not even sure if things will work out good for me. My card's having a hard time shuffling, Ian, so you give me a minute here and I'll give you a reading. I Rise, how are you doing? How are you doing? All right. Glad to have you back, I Rise. I love the energy that you bring to the channel. By the way, that should be how I start all of my tarot introductions. I should just say, LOL, I'm back. I like that. I like that being something that I start very first with. Okay. So, what do we need to know for Ian moving forward? What can we help Ian with? Again, you're welcome, Ian. Okay. I'm wondering if I can do this. I think I can. So I'm just going to have this, because the cards are almost done shuffling here. I'm just going to have that up. Absolutely. Welcome back. All right, so what's going on with Ian, and what can we do to help him during this? Let's get the cards out, and then let's see what we got. I won't start it yet. There we go. All right, so let's see what we have here for the cards. We have the Sun right here, and then we have the Ace of Wands in reverse. Okay, when I see the Sun and the Ace of Wands in reverse, it feels like we're trying new things or we're trying to start new things, but something is blocking us. So maybe something has shooken up our confidence in some way, Ian. It feels like there's something here that's been blocked. The Ace of Wands is actually incredibly similar to the Sun card, but when this is in reverse but this one is upright, it feels like we're trying to start new things, but they're kind of coming to a halt. We feel stuck. It feels like we're stopping before we start. That's what I'm getting here. Let's look at this though, these other cards. We get the Magician and the Mirror, okay? And then we get Two of Swords in reverse here. So when we have Magician in the Mirror and Two of Swords in reverse, along with these other cards, I'm feeling like right now we're trying to manifest what we want, but we don't know where to go. So my inclination is to ask you, Ian, what is it that you would want to do? What is it that would make you feel good? Because I'm feeling like right now that would be the path to follow. Whatever it happens to be, maybe we're working somewhere or we're not working, but it feels like to me you're wanting to start something new. You're wanting to get out of, I don't know if it's to get out of the rat race. I don't know what it is you're trying to do, but it feels like there needs to be a sense of expression here where you can say, I'm proud or I'm happy about the work I'm doing, or I feel like this is something that can be beneficial to me and to other people. I feel like you have a good heart. I feel like you're a kind person. Maybe we overanalyze things a little bit. That might be something that comes into our minds here. But I feel like there's a tendency to want to do the right thing. And maybe what we've done is we've put other people first. And so when it comes to finding ourselves or comes to trying to know ourselves, that can be a difficult situation for us, because if we've put other people first in our lives and made them comfortable, but haven't necessarily thought what we want to do, it may be time for some soul introspection. And how that can generally happen is we start by thinking what it is we would want to do. If money and time were no object, Ian, what would it be that we would want to do if we're feeling stuck, right? If we're feeling stuck, or we're feeling like this is something that we can't quite get through, I feel like the best thing to do is to go back to, and this is an interesting thing right here, if we go back to childhood and we think about the things we liked when we were younger, that can be a really good space at knowing what we like now, because sometimes we do lose ourselves in other people's expectations of us, and when that happens, it becomes very hard for us to find ourselves later on. A lot of times when we feel like we've hit a wall, we feel like it's not just us not necessarily following something, but it's almost like we can be disassociated out of our own life, and that's because we've sort of put ourselves on autopilot. And when we're on autopilot, the way we get back in our body is going to be through going through something, going through the stuff that feels hard. Even if it's difficult for us to go through, it's important for us to set boundaries and say what we will and won't accept from other people. That's kind of the first step. But primarily I'm thinking here, Ian, that there needs to be something that kind of breaks open for you, right? Awesome. I'm glad this is making sense. Perfect. There needs to be something that breaks open for you. And I'm feeling also psychically on this one, because it correlates to this, okay? So I'm feeling excited while I'm doing this reading because I'm feeling your energy and it feels good. It feels like someone who has a lot of positivity, you have a lot of energy, but maybe we don't have the means to express that energy in the way that we want to. And the way that we can do that is to focus on what it is, again, that would make us happy. And that comes from you personally. What is it we liked doing when we were younger? What is it that we feel like we could do now? And even if it seems weird, even if it seems silly, look at the internet. Okay, just look at the internet. People are doing weird stuff all the time. And it's okay. I want you to feel like you can express yourself. When you start expressing yourself and you start not worrying necessarily about what other people think or how you're perceived in society, that takes the shackles off of you. That makes it so that you're free to be who you want to be. But if other people are always deciding who you are, but you haven't done that for yourself, then you're not really living, right? And so it's important for us to focus on what we can do. And if that means taking a trip, if that means doing something by yourself, taking a trip, trying to find yourself, whatever that happens to be, trying new things is also going to break us out of this rut, because a lot of times we feel like we've tried everything, or we feel like we've done this or that, or we're feeling stuck, but we're not venturing out and we're not going outside of our comfort zone. Do things that are outside of your comfort zone. That would be, yeah. But from you, Ian, because this here is about to end, but I'll just say this. All right. Okay. But for you, Ian, I get a sense that we overthink. And when we overthink, it's kind of like when we overthink, we underdo. So I want you right? This is advice from the cards and from me, but I would want you to take charge in your own life. Step in, don't be on autopilot as much, and allow things to happen for us. Allow things to happen where you can feel like you can move around in your life and you feel like you have presence in your own life. You feel disconnected because we've gone on autopilot, because the mundane has become so mundane that there's nothing new, there's nothing that challenges us in our immediate environment. And so now we're having these big questions. Where do I go in career or in this or in that? And it comes down to being in the present moment as much as we can and trying to express ourselves from that moment. There is no past, there is no future. We only have the now moment. And I feel like this is something that you're going to be coming to grips with. You're going to be coming to terms with. So does that help you, Ian, in sort of establishing that? Go back to center when you were a child. What is it you liked doing? And then work on expressing yourself. And if people don't understand you when you express yourself, it doesn't matter. Even though in the moment it feels like we might have a little bit of a transitional period and it feels like it might be uncomfortable, in order for you to gain back your sense of individuality, you need to feel uncomfortable. Feeling uncomfortable is where we grow. When we never feel uncomfortable, we're generally not evolving as people. And when we're not evolving, that's when we go on autopilot. So hopefully that makes sense. Look at new things. Get new hobbies. Try new things. Even if you feel like you're going to be bad at them, try new things just to try it out, you know. That can be a way you can focus on that. And then we won't feel as stuck as much. Hopefully that helps. Little over 5 minutes, but I wanted to say that last part. Okay. It will, Ian. It'll work out. You have to, okay, I'll say this part here. You have to be willing to invest in yourself in order for it to work out. It will work out, but we have to try new things. Awesome, Petunia. I'm coming up for you next. You have to try new things, and then things will work out more. If we're very kind of closed off to new experiences, then that can make it hard for us. But I feel like you got this. I feel like there's just that over-analysis. I'm feeling some Virgo energy with you. That's kind of what I'm feeling, and we just need to get more in our life. We need to be more in our center. So, yeah, okay. All right, so Petunia, I'm going to look at your question here. And again, we're going to be dealing with that oh-so-friendly timer. So let's look at that here, and let's see what we can do. Okay, I'm going to be shuffling the cards. I'm not going to start the timer yet, but you can just look at that. Hopefully that's saying the right time for you guys. It looks like it's saying something very weird on my end, but it's mirrored for you, so hopefully it makes sense. You are very welcome, Ian. You're very, very welcome, my friend. Thanks for stopping by, and if you haven't subbed, I'd appreciate that, and liking the video, I'd appreciate that too, if you wouldn't mind. That goes for anybody else. You guys want to help support the channel, please subscribe and like the video. It would mean so much to me. Working with some beautiful people today, so let's keep it up. I'm going to shuffle these ones, Petunia, and then I'm going to work on this here. Awesome. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Thank you, guys. Let's do another one here. Okay, and then let's shuffle these cards here, and then we'll focus on Petunia's question here. So, will Quentin and Petunia, Quentin Aquarius and Petunia Aquarius, ever get a true chance to start something? Merry Christmas to you too, Ian. Merry Christmas, buddy. Petunia is saying, ready, Freddy. I love that. I love that. My name's not Freddy, but I'm ready too. So I'm just kidding. Well, no, really, my name isn't Freddy, but okay, here we go. Will Quentin and Petunia ever get a true chance to start something? I'm moving to his state next month, and I told him So fingers crossed. Okay, let's look at this. Let's look at this. All right, with that question in mind, let's shuffle the cards. Let's get them ready. Ready Freddy, as we've heard just recently. Let's see what we can do here. Going to shuffle these one more time. These energy cards here, they're aching for a shuffling, so let's do one more shuffle for these ones. Okay, separate household, you're moving in with roommates. That's good. That I like that. I like it when there's not this rush to be together, right? When there's kind of space, because sometimes we don't know what's going to happen. So I think that's smart for you to do it that way. Petunia, here, let me... Just happy I'm closer in proximity. I hear you on that. I do hear you on that. So let's go back up here. So will you get a chance to start something moving to his state next month? And I told him, awesome, awesome. Okay, so let's do this here. Let me get the cards dealt out first. So let's do this. And let's do this. Okay, boom, boom. All right, you guys, 5 minutes. I would say 5 minutes or less, but no. 5 minutes, maybe a little more. Maybe a tiny, maybe a dash more. Okay? Alrighty, let's do this here. Let me, man, my head looks funny in the... Man, my forehead, look at that. There's a lot of brain in here. Or there's a lot of skull. We haven't decided which. Let's, start this out here. Okay, so here's what we got for you, Petunia. We've got, okay, so we've got these two cards right here. We got Door to Romance in reverse, and then we have the Sun in reverse, and then I'm going to read these other cards over here. So, Rest and Rejuvenation and Knight of Wands in reverse here. So, here's what I'm seeing here, okay? So when I see Door to Romance in reverse, and then I see the Sun in reverse, it's making me think that we could be looking at a situation. I'm feeling like maybe when we're moving or something's happening, maybe it's going to be delayed a little bit. You said next month. I'm wondering if something could possibly delay that to being like a little bit further out, because that's kind of what I'm sensing here. Because we have Rest and Rejuvenation in reverse and Knight of Wands in reverse. It feels like, I feel like you're going to get there. I feel like you're going to be able to move there, but it feels like it feels like there's something blocking the connection, and I'm wondering if it's not just distance. That's what I'm asking here. So I'm curious. When I see the Sun in reverse, the Door to Romance, this isn't necessarily a bad card, okay? The Sun in reverse, but I do feel like there's something here where this person, this Quentin person, okay, is this someone that have you known him for a while? Do you feel like you know Quentin pretty well, would you say? Because I'm seeing this right here, and I'm wondering if maybe things will come to light, right? I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen here, other than when I see Rest and Rejuvenation in reverse and the Knight of Wands in reverse, it's making me think that it's just going to take maybe a little bit more time to possibly get where we want to be with Quentin. Once the distance has been shored up, we might learn some other things about Quentin. Nothing overly negative. Okay, perfect. You've known him for 5 years. That's good. I don't feel like it's going to be overly negative or anything like that, but something tells me that Quentin is, maybe he's more distant, right? And maybe that's something you guys can work on together. That's up to him if that's something that wants to be there. I'm feeling like there's excitement here on both parties, but it does feel like something could possibly hamper the moving process itself. That's what I'm feeling here. So, I don't know what could necessarily stop that. The only thing I can think of is maybe another outbreak. I hope that does not happen. But I'm not seeing that. It just feels like something there is kind of blocking the connection, right? And so, and after this time is done here, you can still chat with me for just a bit, and we can kind of clarify things, because I know expecting you to respond with this, you know. But that's what I'm seeing here. So all of these. It's an Aquarius. This emotional mental block period. Okay. Yeah, where there's two Aquariuses, right? Yes, I can understand that. I'm an Aquarius moon. We're eccentric, uh, we're eccentric little things, aren't we? These Aquarius energies, so I understand that. But it does feel like there could be a blockage there. I feel like when you're closer in proximity, this person's going to have to learn how to be with you in a different way. Not, and this isn't going to be negative, but there's going to be an adjustment period. And I feel like we may think that things are all going to be roses when we get there. If the relationship takes off, there's going to be work involved. It's not going to be like happily ever after, we're together now. It does feel like there's going to be work involved. And hopefully, you're someone that if this person does something, you call them out on their shit. I'm hoping you're that person. I sense kind of a strong will. Um, he's a Gemini moon. Okay, okay. So that I can understand that. So one of you is fanning the flames, right? You're a Sag moon. He's a Gemini, fanning the flames a little bit, which isn't a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. There can be passion here. There can be excitement, but sharing a life together is different. And like I said, I want you to be able to call this person out. Don't lose that spark of resilience in you. That's one thing I want you to have. I feel like you need to call people out when they do stuff, and that's going to help the situation so much more. And maybe this person will not be used to that as much, but I do feel like you're someone who says it how it is, and then maybe later you say, whoops, maybe I shouldn't have said that. But it's ultimately you're coming from a place of truth, and you want other people to understand your truth because you're not trying to hurt. You're trying to build things up, and so there could be some misunderstandings there. But I want you to know that. Okay, you really understand that. Perfect. Okay, I want you to know that you being you and expressing yourself, there's nothing wrong with that, and I don't want anyone to take that away from you. I feel like that's happened before, and it's taken you a while to regain your voice. So I'm feeling like now, as we're expressing, this part of ourselves, that keep doing it. If people don't understand us, even if it's this person, even if it's Quentin, still be authentically you, because that's rare these days. Honestly, authentic people in this world, especially with the toxic positivity in the spiritual community, that's rare. That is some rare shit, and yeah, I truly do mean that. So that's something I feel like it'll work out. There will be parts where you guys butt heads, but as long as love is the name of the game, I feel like you guys will be okay. But there's going to be some stuff going on here. When I see the sun in reverse, okay, that the sun, even in reverse, it's not a bad card, but what this means is that things will be illuminated once you get closer to this situation, and it's up to you to do whatever it is you want to do in that situation. But I'm sincerely saying this, call this person out on their shit if they are doing something you don't appreciate, okay? Let that be something that, yeah, so, because sometimes I feel like we move to the place, we do this thing, and we feel like maybe we have to be more docile now, or we have to be more submissive, and I don't want you to think that way. I mean, you can do whatever it is you want to do, but I don't see you as being that way. You're someone who tries to be as authentic as you can. So hopefully that helps, Petunia. Hopefully that helps give you some insight there. I do see it working, but it's going to take some time, and I want you to really, really think about before you move, before you go down there. Think about what a relationship between you two would look like. What would that look like? What would that be? Awesome. Awesome. Perfect, Petunia. Thank you so much for working with me here. We can do another 5 for 5 minutes if you have another question. But if not, that's okay too. If anyone else has a question, $5 for 5 minutes. I pour that special sauce all over that so that you guys can get an answer very quickly. So I've spent about 5-6 minutes on each question so that people aren't waiting in line too long. I only just started doing it now, but it's been going okay so far. Okay, so I'll be right back, you guys. Yeah, just give me 1 second. I'm coming back. I'm going to get some water. So give me a minute here. Boop. I'm coming right back. I'm just coming in here to say I'm coming back, but not right now. Give me a minute. Coming back though. Okay, Rada, let's look at that. Thank you for the donation. Let's look at that. Hazel. Since you're also donating for the channel as well, and you have been donating for a while, here's what I'll do. So I'll give you, let's do 8 minutes for you, even though you paid 5, because you are someone who is a member of the channel. I'm going to have to tweak these as time goes on, but this I feel comfortable doing. So let's do 8 minutes, and then obviously a little bit extra if there's a little more information. Okay. So let me shuffle the cards for you, and let's get ready here. So you're very welcome, Rada. Very welcome. And even when you have questions, it's like they're not even about you, which you absolutely can ask about yourself. You're very kind. You're very, very kind with this, and so, yeah. I should be thanking you, and I will. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, let's get started here. Let's move along and see what we can come up with. Okay. And for everyone watching, please like and subscribe if you guys wouldn't mind. And that's where the camera is. I think that's what I'll do. I've got a better way we can get our timer situation. Okay, will Rada's brother ever get started with his passion? He has had so many obstacles. So let's see if he'll ever get started with his passion. Hazel, what are you doing, honey? Alright. Let me shuffle these cards here. Hey Rachel Queen, welcome to the channel. Thanks for stopping by. So I'm going to be doing this where $5 for 5 minutes. I have a timer set. If that's something you feel like doing, I try to get your answer as fast as possible so I'm not wasting either of our time. If that's something you feel like you can do, we can do that. So you let me know. Or $10 for 10 minutes if you feel like it's a question that needs a little bit more elaboration, we can do that too. Okay? But let's do this here. Let's do 2 more shuffles for Radha here. Right now I'm reading for Radha, but after that, whoever would be paying next would be up. So it would be open after I read for her. Oh yeah, Yoshi's always being a little chunky boy, isn't he? It's basically like having a raccoon. I mean, that's it. It's basically like having a raccoon. He is a raccoon, is what I'm trying to say. Alright, so let's see what we can come up with here. I'm going to pull these cards. I'm going to do... There we go. And then we're going to do this here. Okay. So, let's start our timer here. Brain farting here, guys. I'm brain farting. Give me a minute. Okay. Alrighty. So then I'm going to go like this. It kind of takes up a lot of the space. I'll do it like that. Okay. So here's what we got, Radha, for you. Move over here. So we've got, this is good, we've got Happy Family right here, and then we've got Knight of Swords in reverse. I'll explain that here in just a second. The other 2 cards we have are 4th Chakra Archangel Michael, or Archangel Raphael, which deals with the heart chakra, and the Fountain card. This card never comes up in readings, okay? I've been doing this for a while. This card rarely comes up, and when it does, this, you'll look at the symbol up there, it has an infinity symbol next to the major arcana, okay? This card only comes up when it's time for it to come up, and I'll explain what it means. Okay, Happy Family right here, and then Knight of Swords in reverse. Okay, Happy Family, it's just that, it's a happy family. It's people being united. It's people kind of working together, things going well. That's definitely something we're looking at. When we have Knight of Swords in reverse, this could be someone who's overthinking a situation. This could be someone who's an extremist, overly analytical. Maybe because there's been so many obstacles, this person is having a hard time to keep trying because it's like, then there's this, then there's this, and there's this. And so there could be someone who kind of gets down on themselves, who gets hard on themselves and says, I want to do it, but it seems like there's so much pushback. So there can be someone who is right now in a resistant state of trying to think that life is happening to them instead of for them. So there could be that kind of mentality going on here. Now, I also get these cards here. We get 4th Chakra Archangel Raphael, okay? That has to deal with the heart. This, though, is in reverse. And so what this could mean is someone who has become kind of like, not necessarily cold, but dispassionate. Like something happened to really make it so it's difficult for this person. I still feel there's this dreamer mentality. I still feel there's something there. Like this person is very strong-willed in a lot of ways. But I also feel that there's something here where it's like each time they try and they don't succeed, it becomes harder and harder for them to try the next time. And I can understand that. I can definitely understand that. But a lot of times when we're close to finding gold, we give up. I don't know if you guys have seen, there's like a meme online that shows people like trying to mine to get gold, and the one person walks away from getting gold right before they're about to strike a huge, like, mother lode kind of situation. And I'm feeling like that's what we're dealing with here. I feel like it's super close to happening because when I see the Fountain card right here, this card is outside of all the major arcana. When we're talking about infinity, we're not talking about time or space, we're talking about infinite. We're talking about something that cannot be measured, at least by mortal means. You know, that sounds really badass, but anyway, so we're talking about something that cannot be measured, and this is outside of time and perception. And what this means is to be in the situation. If your brother just allows things to happen the way they're supposed to happen and not take offense to it, not realize that it's this bad thing, but realize that he's being tested. The universe is giving him tests over and over again to say, is this what you want? Are you sure this is what you want? Do you want to do this? It keeps asking because there's some unsureness in his heart. He wants to do it, but there's something holding him back. When he allows things to just be and he flows with the process, that's when he's going to have success. But he has to allow himself to flow with it. If he sees all these things as being blocks and resistances, or like maybe like God or the universe doesn't have his back or whatever that happens to be, he's missing the point. It's a test. And for him to pass this kind of test, he needs to understand that he needs to flow with it. Sometimes life feels like it's punching you, okay? You told him that exact thing. Okay, so we're on the same page here. We're definitely on the same page here. But it's definitely in his corner on if he wants to do something or not. And I'm feeling like he's getting the courage, he's getting the nerve to keep going. But he just keeps thinking, if it doesn't work out, I don't know what I'll do. If it doesn't, and it's like, you have to try. You're already thinking of failing before you've even started again. You're already thinking of doubting yourself before you've even believed in yourself. So there has to be something here where, yes, there's been trials, there's been tribulations, but everyone's story that's ever been worth anything, there's always been trials and tribulations. There's always been being tested, right? That's how we know. How does coal turn into a diamond? Through immense pressure and friction, right? That's how coal becomes a diamond. And it's the same way with the human soul, with the human spirit. There has to be something to temper us, to make us stronger. Sometimes, though, we fall down and we say, I can't get back up. And when that happens, take a rest for a minute, take a break for a minute, but don't have that be the end. Don't have that be when you stop. Awesome. Awesome, Radha. I'm glad. So, the basic thing that I'm feeling here for your brother is going to be for him to... He has to learn to not attach himself to his work. He has to learn that he's not worth... If other people don't see his value, that doesn't mean that he's worthless. And that's something that I would want him to understand, is that people will not see value in things that are inherently incredibly valuable. And a lot of times, if you look at how history has been to like artists and different people in time, when they are alive, they're not recognized for their work. But man, once they're gone, boy, are they recognized. And so it could be a situation where he wants to be appreciated now, and I feel like he will, but he has to keep going in order to reach that point where there's appreciation, where there's people that can understand and people that want to, I guess, be in his life in that way. But I feel that there is a lot of pressure on him to get things just right. And the reason why I feel like he fails, quote unquote, is because he's attached labels of perfectionism onto success. And that generally happens from growing up into a people-pleasing environment and then feeling like we have to do the utmost the very first time and we have to be masters and geniuses at everything we try, or else what the hell's the point? And if that's the case, then he's going to be disappointed time and time again because he's attaching unrealistic expectations on himself. He's saying, if I don't do it perfectly, if this doesn't happen, then I'm not doing something right. That's not the case, right? A lot of times, if he's wanting to start something and he's wanting to do it right, he needs to do what's called chunking. We've talked about this on the channel before. Chunking is where you do something but you take baby steps. Instead of thinking, I need to do this in a day, 3 days, or a week, instead of attaching a time limit to it, allow yourself to experience the process. What does it feel like? Allow yourself to become engrossed in the process. Because that's something that needs to happen. As soon as we think that we have to be perfect at what it is we're doing and we're still learning the very thing that we need to be perfect at, we've already attached unfair expectations on ourselves, and we've already looked at other people and said, well, they can do it, why can't I? Why do they get to do it? Because they've practiced, because they've gotten used to the form, they've gotten used to the way of expressing themselves in that way. And the universe rewards that with time and persistence. Okay, we don't see the struggles that other people go through, But we have to understand that everyone goes through struggles, right? Everyone has their work, their stuff invalidated at some point in time. It doesn't mean that it's worthless. It means that other people at that point in time don't necessarily see the value. But as we go and we keep trying and we keep trying and we refine our craft, it makes it so that it's much easier for other people to see that value. Whew. Okay, so does that make sense? And hi, G1GN1G G okay GI G1G N1N. I'll call you Giggling. That makes sense to me. But that hopefully that makes sense, Rana. I do it too, though, right? Just call you G1. Okay, I can call you G1. That works for me. Definitely works for me. You can call me Chance. You're welcome, Rada. He just needs to take the time to understand that it's a process. I've done that to myself too, though, where I've attached an expectation to something, and I have to do it right now, okay? It never works. It never works because you're already putting so much pressure on yourself. You're going to fail, and then you're going to beat yourself up for failing. Hey, Fatine BK. So if you would like, we can do that. I'm going to be doing $1 per minute. So if you guys think you can get your question answered in a minute, maybe $1. But I generally usually say $5 gets a good question answered if you guys have one. But that's what I'm going to do here. So, hey there, G1. Yes, so $5 for 5 minutes. I have a timer set, and I try to get you your answer as quick as possible. But also, I'm going to be accurate and going to be focusing on that too. But I just don't want you guys waiting around for me forever, which has happened on the channel before. So I'm trying to do things a little quicker. So $5 for 5 minutes, $10 for 10 minutes. If you feel like it's something we need to get more in depth on. So you let me know if that's something you want to do. But thanks again, Rada, for letting me work with you. It's always a pleasure. It's always nice to work with you. Okay. Of course, Fatina. And remember, you guys, if you like what I do, please also like and subscribe. I would appreciate that, and tickle the little bell icon. I think that's what I'm going to do from now on. I'll have it be timed, because I feel like that's fair. $1 a minute, or stuff like that. I used to work for a psychic hotline. $8 a minute. $8 a minute, and you were kind of forced to keep that person on for at least 15 minutes. And if you didn't, for a certain amount of time, you'd be fired. Like, if you didn't keep having people do that with you, you'd be fired. So, yeah, that was an awful experience. Hold on one second. Okay, G1, was that you? Awesome, G1. Okay, perfect. I thought that was you, but I wasn't sure. Okay, so you go ahead and ask your question. I'm going to be taking some notes here. Right after I'm done, then we can start. Okay, thank you so much for your contribution. I appreciate that. So let's do this here. Let's do this and okay, let me add that one. Okay, and then we're on G1 here, starting a new job next week. Okay, so we're wanting to know how that goes. I would imagine, right? Either that, you're starting a new job next week, but you're wondering what's for dinner tonight. That could be how that question goes too. I'm not really sure. But either way, we can look into that if you need. Okay, need your overall perspective on the job, happiness, stability, growth, money. Perfect, perfect. I love that. You're giving me a good framework to work in. Awesome, thank you so much. I'm just going to write you down here. There we go, and we did. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, I'm going to get your timer set here. I'm not starting yet, okay? Once the cards have been pulled and everything has happened, I'm not going to be shuffling the cards on your time. That does not seem appropriate. So I'm going to be shuffling the cards beforehand, and then when we're about ready to start, I will start the timer. So let's do this here. Alrighty. Okay, so G1 is starting a new job next week, and they're wondering, they need an overall perspective on the job, happiness, stability, growth, money. Okay, you know what? I'm thinking we can do that. I've got a strong feeling. I think we can do that. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere, and let's see what we can do. Hey, buddy. You doing good? My cat Yoshi is over here on the left side. Hopefully that means good luck. Let's see. Okay. Let's lay these cards down. So we're going to do this. This will be a little bit different because you have kind of 4 things listed. So happiness, stability, growth, and money. Okay. So I'm going to lay 4 cards down, and we're going to look at each one of those. So I'm going to do that first. Let me shuffle these a couple more times. Okay. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Happiness, stability. I'll show you these cards here too. I'm just going to lay them down first, and then we'll start the timer here in just a second. Okay, so let me get this ready to go here. And I'm actually going to do 2 more cards on these first ones, and then we'll go from there. Okay. Okay, so let me move these out of the way, and let's get your timer going. It's not starting yet. I'm going to go here. Okay, there we go. And what we have here first off is we have got the Judgment card, okay? Judgment card, and then we have Door to Value in reverse, okay? So when I'm seeing this right here, the Judgment card and Door to Value in reverse, I feel like as we're starting this, it's going to feel like maybe it's harder than we think it is, or maybe there's something going on here. I'm not necessarily sure, okay? But I'm feeling there's going to be something here with that. I'm trying to figure out how to position this. Judgment in reverse, Door to Value. Okay, that's what I'm feeling right here. So what we have is maybe we're feeling like this is going to be harder than we think, or we're feeling like this isn't our purpose when we're first starting out. It's not necessarily feeling like it's a bad thing, but it's feeling like there could be more obstacles than we're thinking. Okay, and I don't feel like this is a bad reading at all. In fact, the cards will show that it's not, but I'm just showing you these cards first. So you said happiness right here. So I feel like maybe the confidence of it, or maybe like going into it and feeling confident, maybe that could be something that we're lacking at first, but it feels like it will be something that we grow into as time goes on. I'm not feeling like it's negative, but there could be obstacles, there could be things we need to overcome, such as this. So the Judgment card in reverse, that's something that I feel like is very. Give me 1 second here. I'm gonna pause it for 1 second. I need to do something. Your time won't go down though, so give me 1 second. Okay. And yes, Rocky's World, if you're still here, readings are available. It's $1 a minute. I generally recommend $5 to start out, but if you feel like it's a shorter question, you can do that too. But I do $1 a minute here on this channel, and then I time it. And generally, I go over a little bit. It's not exactly timed. I usually go over a little bit. Okay, so let's resume here. And so when I see the Judgment card here, okay, I'm just going to put this down. And when it goes off, you'll hear it. When I see the Judgment card here, it's saying that it's just going to be hard for us to feel like it's our purpose or to feel like it's something for us easy to do. I feel like you're going to be challenged. Not that it's going to be difficult overly, but I feel like it's going to be something that's more challenging than you think it's going to be. Okay, so then we have these cards here, okay? We have action in reverse, and then we have the Emperor right here. So we're going to need to take action in a way that's assertive and more dominant. I want you to work on confidence. That's what the cards are saying here. And this one is in stability. So in order to be stable in this new job, we have to be confident, even if we don't feel like we can. It's sort of like fake it till you make it, right? Just don't break it. That's going to be what I'm talking about here. We need to keep going and we need to keep trying. And if it feels like we're failing or if it feels like we're flailing around, I want you to be confident. I want you to still yourself and be calm, because I feel like there's success here. There's growth, there's stability, but it's going to take effort on your part. And maybe there could be a tendency to be a little timid at times, and you're going to need to step out of that role. You're going to need to be more assertive. And I feel like as time goes on, confidence builds, self-esteem goes up, you're going to feel better. Now, then we had growth, and I get contract. So I feel like, yes, there will be growth, but there's also going to be points and times where it's not going to be as easy or as fun or whatever as we want it to be. There's going to be parts of this job that are hard and that are difficult. It's not always going to be that way, though. I want you to keep going even when the times get hard, but I'm feeling like there's going to be success here. And to end, we actually have quite a bit of time left, so I can talk a little bit slower here. So contract on the growth, that to me is good. That's showing that I feel like this is kind of meant for us to happen. This is something that I feel like is going to be really good for us. For some, and when I'm looking at this card too, it reminds me of Libra individuals. So we could be looking at fairness or someone coming in and making things more fair. But ultimately, it's going to be something where you're just going to have to work on that confidence and building that up. But then you said money, and I get the Victory card right here. So other things may be difficult about this job, but I do feel like money is going to be something you're going to be making. I feel like that's going to be something that's good. Obviously, you want to be paid for your work. But when I see the Victory card, I'm feeling, okay, you are Libra. Okay, awesome, awesome. So this right here, the Victory card, I feel like we're definitely going to make money, but we have to stick with it even when it gets difficult. And again, I can't stress this enough, there will be times where, in any job, where there will be difficulties, but you need to keep your head up and you need to keep going through. It won't be necessarily fun, but I do feel like there can be success here. I do feel like there's something absolutely positive that can happen as long as we keep going. Okay, so now we've got about 30 seconds left here, and we'll talk a little bit about this here even after this ends, because as I'm talking to you, you can't really talk back in the 5 minutes and have an organic conversation with me. So you tell me, G1, boss supportive. Okay, so a supportive boss. Awesome. Okay, hold on 1 second here. Or 7 seconds, I should say. I'm going to come right back. Just give me 1 second. Okay, the timer may have gone off. The timer may have gone off. I'm not quite done with you yet, so hold on one second. Oh, supportive boss. I do feel like, okay. I don't know if it's going to be a boss that's supportive, but there's going to be someone that's going to be supportive. There's going to be someone. I'm not necessarily knowing if it's a boss or not. Oh, lay down. Okay. Yeah, so I'm not sure if it's going to be someone in a higher up position, but I do feel like there's going to be someone on your side through the more difficult times. So I'm seeing it as being a good thing, a good opportunity to grow, but it will test your character. This will test your character at times. It's not going to be as easy as we think it's going to be, but it's also not going to be it's not going to be overly difficult either. Overall relations with boss good? I think so. When I see the victory card here, I feel like it'll be good, but you're going to have to show your boss that you're a good worker too. So that's something that I feel like would be something we can look at here. So if that's something you feel comfortable with here, so if anyone's wanting a reading, okay, it's going to be $1 a minute. I generally recommend $5 for 5 minutes. You're very welcome, G1. Thank you for helping to support the channel. And if you guys wouldn't mind like and subscribe, if you guys wouldn't mind doing that, I would appreciate it. And make sure to tickle that little bell icon until it giggles so you can be notified when I go live, if that feels like something you guys want to do. Okay, so let's move these here. Yeah, so generally I charge $1 a minute, and so $5 for 5 minutes is usually what I recommend because it gives me plenty of time to talk about the situation. And if you can preface the question the way you want me to answer it, that can make it so I can spend even more time getting more going on here. So, for questions, basically 5 minutes, and if I can answer one question, then we can move on to the next one. So if there's a few questions, I think we can get that answered in 5. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see, what time is it? Okay. Well, actually, you guys, I think before I get logged on here for too much longer, it's almost been 4 hours for me that I've been live. And so I think I'm going to sage my space and call it good for the day. But I do appreciate you guys stopping in and helping to support the channel. I appreciate that more than you can know. I'll see you guys probably tomorrow at my usual time, which is around... Sometimes I'm going to do it earlier, but I'm probably going to do it around 7 o'clock tomorrow. I'll start 7 p.m. MST time, and we'll just go for as long as we can. But everyone take care. I appreciate you guys stopping by, helping to support the channel, and please like and subscribe if you appreciate the work I do. Okay? See you guys next time, which is going to be tomorrow, and have a good one.